All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. This is the first ever Loshak and Bouquett sports betting show. Will it be the last? Who knows? Who knows what the future brings in life? The future is always unknown. Expect curveballs. Right now, here today on Tuesday, May 17th, there is one Loshak and Bouquett sports betting show. I'm psyched for it. I'm ready for it. Jose Bouquett, I'll tell you right now, I'll just blow the lead or whatever they call it. I already bet the Boston Celtics. I already bet both of the. No, sorry. Miami. I bet Miami in the Boston game. I bet Miami -2. I already bet the overs in both of the NHL games, and I took Colorado -1. It'll be interesting to talk about those games. And then MLB, it's we've talked about MLB quite a bit, Jose Bouquett. In all sports, I tend to do much better in the second half of seasons, and baseball is no exception. I often do well in the first few weeks of the seasons as well. But this time of year, the second part of the first half of the season tends to be a little bit of a down spot for me in terms of my ROI, in terms of my confidence in my analysis. And this season seems to be about the same way for me in MLB. I'm taking it a little bit easy. Yesterday, I'm almost blindly betting the Yankees against any weak team, regardless of who the starting pitchers are. But in general, I'm taking it a little easy in MLB right now. I think it's going to be a good show. Of course, we have the comments section. I will read off a whole bunch of names in the comments section. That's a great part of every show. Jose Bouquett, how you feeling about baseball right now, and how do you feel about this show?
Well, Pete, let me tell you, I feel a lot better about this show than I do about the baseball now.
Me too.
Thank you. I'm glad that we feel the same way there. Baseball is taking a drop for me. I've fallen like a rock. I'm officially in single-digit units now. It's a tough time. I went 3-2. I should say 2-3 yesterday, down a unit. So it's been pretty ugly, Pete. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like I need your knowledge here today, and I got you on Say Hey Plays, sort of, because the baseball is going to turn into Say Hey Plays today. So I can't wait. I'm excited, Pete. I wrangled you, and we made the schedule work, too. So it's fun. It's good times.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. Yeah, you're making a lot of great points about that. MLB, you look sharp as hell, Jose Bouquett. Damn, if I knew you were going to dress up, I would.
Pete, I'll be honest with you, Pete. I was sitting here like 3 minutes before the show in like a long sleeve. And I was like, I shouldn't wear. I need to look nice. I'm capping a baseball card with Peter Loshak. I'm on YouTube talking to the chat. I gotta look good today.
I often do the same thing, except for today's show, I was just a little bit concerned and confused about spin rates and xWOBA and all that shit. So I was researching up to the last minute. That's why I don't look great, but you do. That's a very nice look there, buttoned all the way up to the top, but no tie. That's a very sharp look, Jose.
Thank you.
So kudos to that. Let's look at the comments section for a second. Then we'll talk a little bit about this point in the baseball season a little bit more. We'll get some thoughts about what you're thinking. Maybe we'll read some comments from people in the comment section about how they're feeling about baseball right now. And then we'll get into the nitty-gritty games in and game out of today's card. Let's see. We got Sammy Calmer. Thank God. All the big names are here. Thank God. God. If you got the comment section, it's going to be a great show no matter what. That's all you need. Is this going to be a great show? If the comment section makes it so, it will be. If they're not, then there's nothing we can do about it. Shout out to the Gas Report, Diane Narrow, Kyle Hintlian, Ramos, Sammy Calmer. Thank you for being here, Sammy Calmer. Sammy Calmer, Miami today, -2, right? Is that not super obvious? Not a lock, but a super obvious play. I also took a shot with the first quarter under. That might be a little bit of a fool's gold there, but I think Miami -2 in game one is a solid play. Juan Ruiz, James S., Cashman 19. Chris Comatini. Shout out to Chris Comatini. All right. Today's going to be a good show. Cheshire Cat, Rodney Barton, and of course, Nasty Nate. Shout out to you, Nasty Nate. What else do we have here? Any more people that I want to shout out? Brian Watson, Michael Irvelino. Great to see all these names. Nut Flush Allen. Thank God he's in the comments. I wonder what Nut Flush Allen is thinking about MLB right now. My thought is that if I'm confused about MLB, probably every smart person and handicapper is confused about it. I wouldn't say I'm confused about MLB. It's just, you have your first few weeks of results, and then you don't know whether you want to like get on a wave that's still going to be going, or whether you're overreacting to a small sample size in the first few weeks of the season, right? Or the first month of the season, right, Jose?
Yeah, Pete, I'll be honest with you. I was looking at the chat, so I didn't listen to what you were saying, but I'm going to agree with
you. I wasn't saying anything.
I'm going to agree with you were saying because it sounded super smart. It was great, Pete. It was great.
What I was saying was that at this point in the season, you have to make a decision, on every handicapping decision, unless it's some sort of a year-long thing you're looking at, whether there's some kind of wave that you're going to ride that's either likely to continue going or end soon, and think about whether you're overreacting to some kind of like early season or early month, first month of the season results. Like, for example, Cincinnati, for example, right, was an obvious auto fade for the first bunch of weeks of the season. I rode that a lot. They have since turned it around offensively. And at this point in the season, the question is now until the All-Star break or until mid-June, do we expect Cincinnati to revert back to the awful form that they were in the beginning of the season, or to ride this new wave of winning that we've seen from them recently? And Exhibit B in that category is the Boston Red Sox, right? Jose Bouquett, suddenly they're hitting, suddenly they're winning. And at this point in the season, it can be a little bit of a tough analysis assignment to try to figure out what's going on with Boston. Are they a fundamentally subpar team that's going to revert back to what we saw earlier in the season? Or are they now coming into their own, and what we've seen from them in the past few games is what we can expect from them going forward?
Well, we'll start off with the Reds. The Reds, I definitely do think are one of the worst teams in baseball still. Just because they have this hot stretch, that doesn't mean they're gonna make the playoffs or anything drastic like that. But the first month they were just historically awful. That was very unsustainable. They'll still be the worst, but we'll see how it goes. Pete, I think they'll still be a fade team, but it'll definitely be in spots. Hunter Green, for example, like his next start, I think he'll be a fade candidate there after a fantastic outing. You just have to find the spots as well. Today, Connor Overton pitching, a lot of people think there'll be some regression with him. Maybe that day is today. So it's a lot of those factors. As for my Boston Red Stockings, Peter, it is it's a cold world. It's a cold world. I appreciated them doing one of the good things I did yesterday, cashing for the team total over 4.5 for them. Made me feel good. I think it was actually 4. I'm not 100% sure, but cash that made me feel good. It's the thing is they're flawed in certain aspects of it. And I think there could be off the field factors as well, kind of bothering the team a bit, or I should say that bothered the team a bit because it's starting to turn maybe. Xander Bogaerts being a free agent potentially after this year, not getting a contract, that probably, and he's the leader of the clubhouse. So, maybe that affected everyone a little bit the first couple of weeks. Trevor Story, his I guess return or whatever coming into Boston, everything was pretty hectic. I obviously expected the hitting to be better, but it was just so bad there for a while that it's just like, what are we doing? But I do expect the team to get better, but they're not going to be the worst team in the division compared to the Orioles. But the bullpen is tragically bad. Yeah. They don't have anyone name wise that can go in there. We're using John Scribner right now. So sure, what we're doing there. And then we've got another starter closer issue with Garrett Whitlock. We'll see what happens there. The hitting will be good. The starting pitching will be good. It's a matter of how Chaim Bloom is going to fix the bullpen when it comes to the trade deadline, whatever he does. And I will say this, Boston is pretty connected, all the team to team. And the Celtics turnaround from them being a disaster and me literally saying I'm fucking out on this team at one point definitely is a motivating factor. And the Yankees were this bad early on last year as well. So all those things to say, I do expect the Red Sox to play better, but we will see how good it gets, basically.
Yeah. All right. Well, I take it easy at this point in the Major League Baseball season, and I probably will in this show as well, although I'm sure I'll have a few bets, a few picks, but I'm taking it easy. We'll see what Jose Bouquett has to say, and let's get it. So we're going to start with NHL, though. What are we starting with, Jose?
Yes, we're starting with NHL, and our lovely guest is back there waiting for us, too.
All right. Why don't you hook that up, and I'll look at the comments section here, see if there's any chief tweets that Dylan C. spits hot fire. Yes, we will discuss that game very soon. Very soon. Cashman, Red Sox worst in the division for sure. Wow. Yeah, and then the
right in my heart, Cashman.
Go ahead.
I was that was right in my heart, Cashman. That's just unnecessary.
All right, let's get into NHL. These are the NHL games. I've had a good NHL playoffs overall. Feel pretty confident about the NHL playoffs right now. Have a few bets on tonight's games. Let's get into it.
All right, let's bring on our first guest, the man, the myth, the legend, someone that I'm very excited to talk NHL with. Perhaps we can talk about the Leafs and all those foldings in those Game 7s as well. Ian Cameron, Bobano, joining us today. Bobano, my man, how are you doing?
Yeah, it's like that old Simpsons scene with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Stop! They're already dead. I mean, do we really have to freaking rail on them again for the millionth time? But yeah, obviously more disappointment.
Yeah, here we are again. Peter, did you watch all those Game 7s? And by the way, Rangers, they finally do it, Pete. They finally do it for you.
Never in doubt. I did have an official. I did have a bet and an official pick on the Rangers at -125 for the series. I'll make a never in doubt joke now. Why not? Never in doubt. Never in doubt. Yeah. Listen, I will say that tonight's games I have a couple of bets on, but the Rangers in the Carolina series is the one series that I feel a little bit uncertain about. And I'm glad we have Bobano here because I'll get his take on it so that I can factor that into my private betting tomorrow and for the rest of that series. Yeah, that was, it was, and I guess, I don't like to bring anything negative into these things, but the hit on Crosby, was that the decisive factor in that series, Bobano? Is that what happened?
I don't buy into that totally, Peter, because you look at it, they got Crosby back in Game 7.
Right.
They got Tristan Jarry back, their best goalie in Game 7. Go out, win the hockey game. I can't take it with people that are making excuses for Pittsburgh, saying Jacob Trouba completely robbed us of winning this series because he took out Sidney Crosby for a couple of games. I can't listen to it because you had an opportunity in Game 7 to get the job done. You had a lead in Game 7. You coughed it up. You had a 3-2 lead in the third period. You let the Rangers tie it. And yeah, it was unfortunate. Pedersen had to go off the ice because of the helmet. And it's unfortunate. And the Rangers scored right after that. But the game is still 3-3 at that time. Still got a chance to win the game, the series, and move on. Don't take a penalty in overtime. Don't allow a breakaway, or at least a partial breakaway in overtime. That's exactly what happened. They had to take a penalty. They gave the Rangers a power play opportunity, and Artemi Panarin ended the series with that overtime goal. I mean, I know there's missing Crosby for those couple games hurt. There's no question. Especially, guys, when you think about how that line of Crosby, Jake Gensel, and Brian Rust was just torturing the New York Rangers early in the series. To miss Crosby for a couple of games hurt. There's no question. But I can't say we lost the series singularly because he missed a couple of games. I can't deal with that as a reasonable, legitimate excuse to explain why the Pittsburgh Penguins lost this series. They still had chances, and you got to give the Rangers credit. They were down. They were trailing in Game 5 and in Game 6 and in Game 7, and they were down 3-1 going into Game 5. So let's give them a little tip of the cap for great character, great resilience, and they've learned something in those two categories under Gerard Gallant. They had no backbone, no pushback, no fight back. They were soft in the playoffs under David Quinn. Looks like a different group under Gallant this year, and we'll see how they do against Carolina.
Okay, well, I'm willing to give the Rangers some credit, but Dennis Garcia is not. Look at this. Rangers are the biggest fraud luck box remaining in these playoffs. No respect coming from Dennis Garcia. You think that's a little bit harsh there, Ian Cameron, or roughly accurate?
They were definitely walking a fine line in this series. There's no question. They had a lot to go their way. They obviously Crosby out a couple games. They had Louis Domingue in net instead of Tristan Jarry the whole series. And Louis Domingue gave up a goal that can't go in Game 6 of that series. That game-winning goal for Kreider, that's got to be stopped. He talks about the spicy pork and broccoli, not very good. Yeah, that was not very good. The goal you allowed, Louis Domingue, not good. As he would say in that post-game press conference he had, not good at all, giving up that goal. That was a bad one. So, Pittsburgh, they had Crosby out a couple games, down to their third goalie, essentially. Like, they would have had Casey DeSmith, you guys. They would have had him in net over Louis Domingue, and then he got hurt early in the series as well. So there's no doubt the Rangers took advantage of some things, but at the same time, they did battle back from the brink when they were down 3-1. I will say this, to Dennis's point, he's obviously not buying into the Rangers and what they've done. They're going to have a whole different beast on their hands coming up with this Carolina Hurricanes team. And the way they played throughout the 7 games against Pittsburgh, you guys, I'll say this right now, that will not beat the Carolina Hurricanes. Right. That will not beat that team. They're going to have to take it to another level. They're going to have to iron out their defensive game, and they're going to need Shesterkin to be on top of his game right from game 1, unlike that Pittsburgh series.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get a 10-second recap of that before we let you go, Babano. But right now, I guess let's get into the 2 games tonight. Jose, you're still in charge of the graphics here. How are we doing this? Do you want me to just start talking about it?
Well, Pete, I'll introduce.
Or you have something to say about it?
No, well, Pete, I have something to say about it.
Okay.
I've got something to say about it because I know what time and where it is, Pete, because I definitely researched that fact. And I can tell you Tampa Bay, Florida is our first game here. And Florida, fucking battled to get here. I would respect to Florida. They win an OT to beat the Caps of the former defending champion. We all know them. But they've got all that pedigree and stuff. And the Lightning, balls on the table with who I've been told now, Vasilevsky has ascended to one of the greatest goalies maybe of all time, one of the best playoff performers of all time. Pete, you laugh. I know all about the sticky puck, Pete. I know all about it. We're in the Florida Live Center, whatever it's called. Now we're in Florida. That's all that matters, Pete. And I think the Florida Panthers dominate these Lightning here, especially with no point. I believe we've got no point. He's out. He had like a hip, arm, leg injury, lower body, as they call it in the NHL. Pete, one of my things these last couple of days hosting the show has been I have been tailing everyone's picks here. When Bobano came on, it gave like 50 picks, and I had to cut my unit size to a third because I thought it was only going to be like 3 picks. It turned out to be like 60, but it was a fun day. I enjoyed it. But I like the Panthers here as well. I like the Panthers. I think they kind of roll. I think they might roll them, but it's Vasilevsky, so it's hard to say. So I would be on the Panthers, but I'm an uneducated swine, Pete. So tell me what you think.
I will admit that I might have made a mistake. I bet modestly.
Modestly?
Tampa Bay -1 at like plus 230 before I realized that point was probably not going to be in, and I'll probably still roll with that. Vasilevsky, great in Game 7, looked a little bit off in the earlier games of the series, and the bigger bets I made, which I feel more confident in, are I just bet overs. I did take the first period over. I think I got -180 before it moved to 2, and then I also took the full game over. I got a good line at Will Hill at 5.5. I got -210, I think. As good as Bobrovsky definitely looked a little bit vulnerable against Washington, and Tampa Bay is probably going to push him even harder here. So with or without point, I think that Tampa Bay should be able to put goals on Bobrovsky. Vasilevsky, great, but again, he looked great in Game 7. Before that, a little bit vulnerable. So I'm definitely liking overs here. I bet them, and as a dog, I was thinking that Tampa Bay, I didn't bet the series lines, but I was thinking that maybe Tampa Bay was getting a little bit disrespected as a dog, even though they don't have home ice in this series, in light of how the previous series went. Now I'm feeling a little bit nervous about it. Babano, what do you think? First of all, overs, it's kind of obvious, but probably a good play, right?
Yeah, well, I probably won't be saying, let's go out and bet Florida games under the total.
Right.
That's not really something I'm looking to do. So it's over or pass for me, probably throughout this series. But, Florida Washington actually was at times a little bit lower scoring than I thought it would be. We had a couple unders in that series, especially early in the series. The first two games both stayed under 6.5.
Right.
Florida Washington series 4-2 and 5-1. Tampa Bay doesn't mind playing low scoring hockey. They showed that in Game 7, but other than that, every other game with the Leafs and Lightning did go over. And you do have the fact that head to head this year, you had some wild high-scoring shootouts back and forth. You had a 9-3 and you had an 8-4 game, between these two teams, the last two during the regular season. Now, you did also have two unders very early in the regular season back in October, November, 4-1 and 3-2. So it was two unders, two overs with the regular season series with these two teams. But just in general, I'm not looking to bet Florida games under, to be quite honest, at 6.5. So I have no argument with the over. As far as the series goes, I think Florida's going to find a way. And to me, they're sticking out and dangling out a carrot here at you with giving you the Tampa Bay Lightning plus 130. I find this line is very, very peculiar to me, especially after seeing the Lightning get past a very, very game Toronto Maple Leafs team. Say what you will about the 18 years of futility in the playoffs, but the Leafs were an equal opponent. They were a very, very game opponent for that Tampa Bay Lightning team, and Tampa Bay had to work to get past them. So, and I think Florida could be the series where finally we see some wear and tear and mental fatigue and physical fatigue. I have a hockey show, and I've had a bunch of players as special guests that have played the game on that show throughout the playoffs, and they all say that when you make the run that the Tampa Bay Lightning have made the last 2-3 years, it's not so much the physical fatigue, it's the mental fatigue as well. Your brain's not catching up quite as fast to what's going on the ice, to the puck movement, to where your teammates are on the ice. And that's where those little mistakes can happen. And if you think mistakes against Toronto could hurt them, what about mistakes against Florida, the highest scoring team in the NHL this season? So there's things that work against Tampa here. I mean, coming off that 7-game series, they're very fortunate. They at least get a couple days, but it's still a Saturday to Tuesday turnaround. You played 7 very, very intense games against the Leafs, especially the last few games. Every game was a 1-goal game, the last 3 of that series. And you have to enter this series without Braden Point. And I don't want to make too much of a deal about it simply because Tampa's got depth, tons of it. But Braden Point is their go-to. He is their, absolute beast at playoff time in terms of the most clutch performer they've got. Say what you will about Stamkos and Kucherov and Palat and Killorn and Cirelli and all the other great forwards they have. Nobody's more clutch for the Tampa Bay Lightning than Braden Point at playoff time. Nobody. And he's going to be out for at least game 1 here in this series tonight and maybe subsequent games as well. I like Florida here in game 1. Carter Verhaeghe, by the way, you talk about player prop. Carter Verhaeghe was not only phenomenal in the first round against Washington, he used to be with the Tampa Bay Lightning. You're already amped up. You're playing well. You want to beat Tampa Bay. The Florida team wants to beat Tampa Bay because they lost in the first round to them last year. They want to make amends this year. But Carter Verhaeghe used to play with the Lightning. He's going to be even more, excited to make an impact and bring the same level that he brought against the Washington Capitals. So I think Carter Verhaeghe props for the Florida Panthers tonight and throughout this series are going to be worth a look. And the thing that concerns me too about Tampa is their 5-on-5 even strength play against Toronto was okay. It wasn't great. Okay, not great. 5-on-5 against Florida ain't going to cut it for the Tampa Bay Lightning because Florida beat Washington all because of their 5-on-5 play, all because of their even strength play. Florida did nothing with the power play. Nothing with the power play against Washington, and yet they still overcame the special teams deficiencies, particularly with the man advantage, and they still won that series, which to me was very impressive. So 5-on-5, I think, don't be surprised if Florida, outplays Tampa Bay for a good stretch here with the 5-on-5 play. So I like Florida in game 1 tonight. I think situationally it's good for Florida tonight as well. At home, a little bit more rested. Tampa coming off the 7 games against Toronto and without Braden Point, you got to lay a price. Minus 155, is out there at Caesars right now, among other books. I think that's the best price you can find. I'm going to do that, pay up a little bit to lay the $1.55. And I'm also going to play, this is available at FanDuel, this bet. This is a Florida Panthers Game 1 series double is what it's called. And these are good bets, especially when you're talking about a moderate to larger favorite. in this round of the playoffs, where in this case you could bet Florida to win game one and win the series at a plus price. And that's what I'm going to look at here. I just want to make sure I get it right in terms of what the current price is on that. Yeah, Florida Panthers to win game one and to win the series is plus 128 at FanDuel. I think that's a very good value bet. I'm on that as well right now. So Florida minus 155 in game one, single bet there, and as well the game one series combo. Florida to win game one, Florida to win the series at plus 128.
Man, that was a hell of a breakdown. What do you think about that, Jose Bouquett? Yeah, I love hearing from former professional players. I can tell you about like the mental grind of being like 11 and playing in Little League, and that's about it. Wow. So
same.
yeah, I'm sorry.
I said same. I can tell you about the times I rode the bench in high school. That was a good time.
Yeah, right.
It's the same grind.
Maybe now I'm thinking about making the over 5.5 right now at Will Hill. I'm seeing minus 200. That's obviously a much better line than what Pinnacle's offering. So it's a good market line there, over 5.5 minus 200. But I guess I'm just a little bit worried. Maybe it is going to be surprisingly low scoring. I mean, when they played last year in the playoff series, the first game was higher scoring, but then later on there were some much lower scoring games. My sense here is, game one, both these teams are going to try to get the win doing what they do, which is offensively, right, Ian?
They're both. It's funny. These teams can play defensive and play a 3-1 type of game. I just don't trust either team to do that right away. Maybe like in a game 6 or especially in a game 7 if we get there. And by the way, I did sprinkle on that as well. 7-game series. I think Florida's winning, but I think it might take the distance still. And I think that's really where, like, if Tampa goes through a game 7 for a second time, and they're gonna have to go on the road again here for a game 7 if it gets to that point. I don't know if they'll survive it like they did against Toronto. Because if you watch the Tampa-Toronto Game 7, that wasn't wow. Tampa Bay really took control of that Game 7 and won it pretty decisively.
Right.
That was we hung on. We just scraped it out. We relied on Andrei Vasilevsky, who's obviously had an outstanding track record in those big games. That was not so much, Tampa thumping their chest like, boy, look at how strong and dominant we are. No, not at all in that Game 7 against Toronto. If they have to go through that again here in the second round against Florida, that is going to be, I think, a concern. So the series to go 7 at plus 210, I like that as well in the series. But as far as the totals, tonight I'm going to only look over in this series. As long as the totals remain 6.5 or below, that's the only way I'm going to approach it here. And the one concern is Point, being out, such a big catalyst of what Tampa does offensively. But they've still got plenty of depth. You do have a situation where every game for Tampa besides game 7 against Toronto went over the total. The Florida-Washington series toward the end of that series finally started to trend over the total. After the first 2 games of that series, 3 of the last 4 went over the total. So if you combine Florida's last 4 games of the Washington series with the 7 games Toronto-Tampa played, what are you talking about? 10-2 to the over in those games combined. So that's pretty strong. So yeah, I wouldn't talk anyone out of the over. I don't know if I'll bet it, but I lean in that direction. That's for sure.
So without Point, you definitely not like in Tampa Bay, but they still have guys on there who can get a few goals if you need an over only, right?
No doubt. Of course, they definitely can. And look no further than Game 7 against Toronto, when the hero of the night for the Tampa Bay Lightning was none other than Nick Paul, who they got at the trade deadline from the Ottawa Senators, scored 2 big goals for them. And has had a really nice second half of the season since the Lightning got him. Nick Paul's been great. Ross Colton is another player to look out for. We know Stamkos and Kucherov, Palat, Killorn, Cirelli, they're all very capable offensively, but don't sleep on Nick Paul and Ross Colton. These are players throughout the regular season, Pete and Jose, that I was betting, to at plus 350, plus 400 to score a goal in a lot of games. They were consistently undervalued in terms of their player props, whether it was to score a point, to score a goal, shots on goal. They were great players in terms of undervalued from a prop standpoint. So keep an eye on Paul and Colton. If they win this series, actually, they are going to need to do something and produce, because this is going to be more difficult. They've got to have that depth shine through, because Florida's got incredible forward depth, and Tampa's going to need those third line guys like a Nick Paul, like a Ross Colton to be impact players here in this series.
Okay. I think, Jose, are you writing down the official plays and giving them to Jim, or how are we doing this?
Yes, I am writing them down. So
all right.
don't you worry about that, Pete. But I'm going to ask Bobana one time Bobana, you're on Florida money line for the game one. You got -155, and you got your Florida win the series plus the Florida game one money line plus 128. Correct?
That's right.
Beautiful, Pete.
I got a little bit of a gift, I guess, from the Rangers pulling out that series. We'll take the Will Hill line here. Tampa Bay, Florida, over 5.5, -200. Over 5.5, -200. We'll go with that. Over 5.5.
Oh, paying up for 5.5. Okay, very good.
Yeah, well, but also, Will Hill sometimes has off-market lines for alternative totals and spread sometimes even. So I'll take that one. It's a good line, over 5.5, -200. I don't know if I take the Pinnacle line on that one, but all right. And I'm almost certainly going to pull my Tampa Bay bet though. Florida, yeah, it seems like this is the big, and wait, let me find this comment here. I want to get your take on this one, Bobano, saying that Tampa Bay got lucky. Let me just find the friggin' comment. Where is that comment?
I'll bring up a comment while you're looking for that one, Pete. Our guy Nut Flush Allen had a question.
Mm-hmm.
How are they setting this team total over at 2.5 at -160? Something smells fishy here.
I saw that one, and here we go. Anders Larson. Leafs got screwed by the refs. Tampa wasn't the better team in that series, aided by the refs.
Well, I'll give you a stat.
What?
Do you know who scored more goals in that Toronto-Tampa Bay series?
I'll go with Tampa Bay.
Not the team that moved on.
Oh, okay.
That series. Toronto 24, Tampa Bay 23. That was the total goals in the series. Toronto actually outscored Tampa Bay by 1 goal, but they're sitting at home tonight. Tough. It's tough to win, and it's even tougher to lose.
Okay,
man, that's so real, Maple Leafs.
I've made my bet official, and if it loses, that's all right. Getting a good line, which is of course paramount importance. Okay, and Ian, you're going to be on Florida tonight, right?
Yes, definitely. Florida tonight and Florida in the Game 1 series combo.
All right, so let's move on to St. Louis, Colorado. You want to intro it, Jose?
Yeah, a lot of disrespect being thrown around to a former champion, these St. Louis Blues. St. Louis, right? We're in St. Louis? Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's how much I know hockey nowadays, guys. Colorado obviously is the prohibitive favorite here, but a lot of people saying Blues +300, +330 to win this series.
Mm-hmm.
Disrespectful, especially in the chat. We've got -220, +180 in the money line right now. We're in Colorado, obviously. Ryan O'Reilly has turned into one of the better leaders in hockey, we've learned. And obviously Nathan McKinnon on the other side is a fantastic player. And it's going to be I would say, a high-flying offense in Colorado versus a grit you, grind you down offense and the team in St. Louis. They're big, physical. They'll hit you around, and they're gonna. My guess is that they make the Nathan McKinnons of the world very uncomfortable. So Bobano, maybe I might be wrong. As you know, I'm not a hockey guru, but I think that the Blues do have a chance here in this series. I think +300 is a little high as well. So I guess I'm leaning towards the Blues, which feels weird to say. Peter, let's get your take first, obviously. I want to know where your head's at. And please, if I'm wrong about these grit and grind Blues, they're kind of like the Memphis Grizzlies of the NBA or the NHL. So I like watching this team, Pete. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely a heavy kind of team, which is the kind of team that gives Colorado problems. I had a great read on the St. Louis, Minnesota series. The Colorado-Nashville series, I just left money on the table. Obviously, I don't know how much. I think I made only 1 or 2 bets in the entire series. Obviously, just betting Colorado -1 or 1.5 and their team total over as game in and game out was a profitable thing to do, despite that one game that went very low scoring. So I don't feel like I have a great read on exactly how awesome Colorado is. I know there's a couple of defensive injuries for St. Louis. Not sure how much that is likely to hurt them here. I suspect that it will hurt them. This is another game where I took the over at a good line at Will Hill, and I also took Colorado -1, kind of a no-brainer play, assuming that that St. Louis will be able to put up more resistance than Nashville, of course. but that the injuries will hurt them, and that one way or another, eventually Colorado is a good bet here to get a win. And -1, you get a push, and you get a win if they win by 2. My sense is that St. Louis is not necessarily getting disrespected by the odds to win the series. To win a couple games, sure, but to win the series, what would the fair odds be here for Colorado? I'm not sure that they should be anything significantly different from what we're seeing right now. So those are my bets. I think Colorado is a good bet once again to win the series, to get this one, and to see high-scoring games. So I bet the over 5.5 again at -200, and I took Colorado -1. That's my take on this series. Bobano, what do you think about everything I said?
I think Colorado is winning the series. I don't know if I love them in game 1 tonight. This could be a tricky one for them because they are loaded and they are absolutely primed from a roster construction perspective to win the Stanley Cup. There's no doubt in my mind about that. None whatsoever with what they've got with Nichushkin, McKinnon, Rantanen as their top line, Landeskog, Kadri, Lehkonen, their second line, Burakovsky, Comfort, and Obey-Kubel is a very, very capable third line. I mean, that's a very good NHL third line right there. There's no doubt about that. They've got Nico Sturm, a good young player, Logan O'Connor, another good young player, and a good veteran who's been through in the playoffs a bunch in Darren Helm as their fourth line. I mean, they are absolutely loaded, this Colorado team up front. They're just as loaded on the blue line. Cale Makar, Devon Taves is one of the absolute best defensive pairings in the NHL. Sam Girard, Josh Manson, who they brought in at the deadline from Anaheim. Bowen Byram, who's going to be a good defenseman for a very long time in this league. And the veteran, Eric Johnson, who can still play when he's healthy, and that's always been his issue the last few years. When he's healthy, he's a great defenseman still for this Colorado team. And Darcy Kemper in net. I mean, they have very few, if any, holes. There's no question about that. However, as great and as dominant and as much as they ran roughshod over Nashville in the first round, how much of that was just Colorado's too good for anybody? How much of that was Nashville's issues? A bad defensive team late in the regular season, Nashville. They surrendered 4 more goals, and I believe most of their last 8 or 9 games down the stretch. A Nashville team that blew a 4-0 lead to Arizona in their final regular season game of the year. A Nashville team that was down to their third goalie in Connor Ingram in that series against Colorado. I mean, you have no shot to beat Colorado. None, zero, when you're in that kind of situation. When, obviously UC Saros was out, couldn't play in that series. And then they put David Riddick in game 1 against Colorado. That was a big mistake. Big Civ Dave struck again for the Predators. Gave up 5 goals in the first period, and they were buried in game 1 pretty much right then and there. And then they turned to Ingram. And look, Ingram did the best he could. But when you're facing a team like Colorado, and he's the only reason actually it got to overtime in game 2 of that series, that was unbelievable, that performance by Ingram. But after that, the floodgates opened and Colorado kind of figured him out. And that was that. It ended up being a 4-game sweep. And the power play for Colorado just destroyed Nashville. And that's another talking point in this series, special teams. St. Louis doesn't have the bad penalty kill that the Nashville Predators have. That's a penalty kill that, 3 times in the last 4 games in that Minnesota series, they shut out that Minnesota Wild power play. And that is a very good power play, Minnesota. Now, Colorado takes it a step further. We know their power play is even more lethal, no question. But St. Louis's penalty kill really played pretty well, I would say. The last 10 games of the regular season, if you actually go back to before that first-round series against Minnesota, their penalty kill was pretty good before that. And I talk about Colorado's power play being lethal. Don't sleep on the St. Louis power play. This power play is legit. It is scary. It's good. It's got Ryan O'Reilly. It's got David Perron, Vladimir Tarasenko. Robert Thomas plays power play time. They've got multiple players that can beat you. Pavel Buchnevich, Brandon Saad, Braden Shen. I mean, it's just unreal what the Blues can throw out there with the man advantage. And look at that Blues power play against Minnesota. And again, Minnesota's a step below Colorado. Let's not kid ourselves here. But still, St. Louis in that series against Minnesota, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 power play goals in the 6 games in that series. 8 power play goals. They are a very, very dangerous team with the man advantage. And I think in a special teams, if you're going to have any chance to compete with Colorado, you need to be able to hang in there from a special team standpoint. You can't get killed on the penalty kill. You can't get killed with the power play. You have to be able to have a halfway decent penalty kill. You have to be able to have a halfway decent power play when you play Colorado. I think the Blues can bring that in this series. So I'm going to take a small flyer on the Blues to steal game 1 tonight, plus 190, because I think that first game after coming off let's be honest, a cakewalk over Nashville,
right?
This is going to be a step up. Now, how much of a step up is the question, but I know for a fact St. Louis is a better, more well-equipped team for the Stanley Cup playoffs than Nashville, especially when Jordan Binnington looked like he got his mojo back, a guy that's had a terrible regular season. Craig Berube plays a hunch, I believe, after game 3 against Minnesota, turns Jordan Binnington and turns away from Ville Husso in net, and Binnington looked very strong. Now, he's had struggles against Colorado. I remember a few years ago, I think they played Colorado, or last year or 2 years ago, and it was ugly for St. Louis against Colorado. But, they learned some lessons. I think they can compete in this series. I don't think they're going to have enough horses compared to Colorado to win the series. But I'm going to take St. Louis in game 1 because I think that culture shock for Colorado of going from this Nashville team that was depleted to shit in goal and struggling defensively is going to be an adjustment early on. And I'm going to go with a game 1 series combo here as well, like the Florida-Tampa series. And this is also at FanDuel. The game 1 series double for me here is going to be St. Louis to win game 1, Colorado to win the series. And that is plus 360 at FanDuel right now. I think that's a good way to go. We know if St. Louis steals game 1, Colorado's firmly capable of that being the wake-up call, and they really get their game going. That's just a theory and a strategy for me. I think St. Louis could pounce here. Colorado was everything happened so easily for them against Nashville. Everything. It was like, here you go, Colorado. Here's the game. Here's the series for you. Just take it. You don't even have to break a sweat, essentially, against Nashville. I think that's going to be a struggle for them to ramp it up fully against what's going to be a tougher, harder out in the St. Louis Blues. So St. Louis to win game 1, Colorado to win the series. That's my game 1 series combo, plus 360.
All right. Billy Friedrich says Blues win, and I'm sprinkling the series for the Blues. But then Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day, Colorado in regulation. I guess my concern here, here's the concerns. A, that Binnington had a great couple of games against Minnesota, but as we know, he struggled in the regular season, and now going up against a different team will revert back to his regular season form. B, the injuries on defense for the defensive line for St. Louis will matter a lot against Colorado. And then C, I guess, which is just that Colorado has such depth that that they're way better even than we're giving them credit for, even than we realize, because they just didn't have that depth all season long. Now they have it. They blew out Nashville, but Nashville sucked, so you put a little bit of a asterisk there. And those are the issues. I guess I'm just wondering about Colorado's awesome depth and St. Louis' vulnerability defensively, both in goal and on the blue line.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting because the good news is at the end of the Minnesota series, they got Robert Bortuzzo and they got Nick Leddy back from injuries. They were without Nick Leddy, Robert Bortuzzo, and Torrey Krug, for a couple of games in that minute. Now, they're still going to be without Torrey Krug, and that does hurt. Torrey Krug's a terrific defenseman for the Blues, no doubt. They'll miss him. Marco Scandella is also questionable for game 1 tonight, but they've deployed 7 defensemen in the last couple of games, Craig Berube, so I wouldn't be as surprised if they do that again here tonight. Of course, they've also got this guy that's kind of a hybrid forward and defenseman. He's played forward at times. He's also played defense. He's a rotational type of player, and that's Scott Perunovich for the St. Louis Blues. They can use him on the blue line, so you might see him there if they need him and if they need an extra body on the back end. So keep an eye on that. But, yeah, definitely without Torrey Krug's a concern. But you talk about Colorado being off for as long as they have, because they haven't played since that 5-3 win against Nashville. It's an 8-day layoff. That's a lot. It might even be wise, and I'm even considering this too. Instead of putting everything on the plus 190 for the full game. Yeah, exactly, Pete. 100%. The first period that's there with the St. Louis Blues. I think that might be something to consider, because this could be a spot where St. Louis is sharper early, especially when you're talking about a team on an 8-day layoff. Let me see what Colorado is actually with the extended rest this year. Pretty impressive, but all their records are very impressive. But even their 3 days rest or more, 7-2, that's pretty solid. But that first period, especially, when you haven't played in 8, and it's been 8 days, since we've seen Colorado on the ice. So I think, Jose, what I'm going to do officially is I'm going to do a split here. I feel better about taking a shot with the not only the plus 190, actually plus 196 for the full game is available at Pinnacle, and the first period plus 155 at Pinnacle. I'm going to do a split. So it's going to be, instead of 1 unit on the full game, it's going to be half on the first period, half on the full game for St. Louis. Now that I'm thinking about it more, the 8-day layoff, and Colorado's good enough, guys, where they could have a bad first 20 minutes. They're rusty. They're not sharp. That they don't have their legs under them yet after being off for 8 days. They're down 1-0 or something after the first period, and they still come back and they win the game because they are that good, especially on home ice. So I'm going to do the split with St. Louis, first period and full game money line.
And Ian Cameron, you obviously know hockey well. So when you have a team like Colorado and then a relatively heavy team like St. Louis, despite the fact that they have so many forwards who can score, what is the likely game plan here from St. Louis? You think they're going to try to play a very tight, close, low-scoring game, at least to start the series? Is that what's likely? Or you think they're going to try to pop them in the mouth early and jump out to a 2-0 lead in the first 10 minutes?
Yeah, they're going to try to. Colorado could also be, when you are on a layoff, you are usually sloppy defensively when you haven't played in a long time. And again, Colorado, this is their first game since May the 9th. All right, that's when they wrap things up against Nashville in that 4-game sweep. And if you look at the over-under trends for Colorado with the extended rest, 3 days or more this year, 5 overs and 1 under. So that tells you, hey, maybe defensively, not so good for Colorado after the long layoff. So for that reason, I'm also, this will be my last official play for this entire card. It's going to be over 6.5. I actually like this over even more than the Tampa, Florida over. And you cannot argue with the series history. I mean, over 6.5 is minus 128 right now at Pinnacle. So we'll go with that. Over 6.5 minus 128 at Pinnacle. And look, by the way, the series history, if you look at it head to head, especially this year and going back to last year, May 19th of last year, although that was the playoff series. But, yeah, they did meet in the playoffs last year. Colorado ran roughshod with the sweep over St. Louis, 4-1, 6-3, 5-1, 5-2. 3 of those 4 went over the total. The regular season meetings this year, guys, St. Louis, Colorado, 3 games, 5-3, 4-3, 5-3 were the final scores. 2 of those games won by Colorado, one of them with St. Louis being the victorious team. So 3 overs, 3-0 to the over in the regular season between these two teams. So over 6.5, we'll add that to the menu as well.
All right, I did already bet those. Jose, you can add these 2 plays. I'm going to give 2 over plays for my official record here. A lot of juice, but that's okay. I'm willing to do it. I'll take the first period over 1.5 minus 180. The first period over 1.5 minus 180. That is that's a market line, or actually I'll check Pinnacle to see if I can get a better one there. And then once again, a little bit of an off-market line at Will Hill. Over 5.5 minus 200. Over 5.5 minus 200. That's a we don't use shit books that offer off-market lines, but Will Hill is not a shit book. This is Caesars. This is Will Hill. They've got ads all over the fucking city, so we can
that's
use
legit. I back you up on that. Will Hill, great book. Caesars, great book.
Sure.
Any of the ones we mentioned, at FanDuel, BetMGM, they're all good. They're all legit.
All right,
and real quick, what was your Colorado -1? You had that as well, correct?
I think I might hold off on that one, though. Okay. I'm not going to bet. I mean, I bet it. I don't know if I'm going to pull it, and actually at Pinnacle, the 1.5 is minus 170. So give me that. First period over 1.5 minus 170, and the full game over 5.5 minus 200. I'll make both of those official. Yeah, I mean,
I'll say one thing about the Blues, you guys. If we're sitting here tonight at midnight when this game wraps up here, and it ends up being, 5-2 Colorado, I think that's big trouble in this series for St. Louis. I really do, because I think this is their spot to maybe steal one. And if they get thumped, man, I don't know if that's going to bode well for their chances in this series. I mean, I'm not saying sweep or 5 games, but man, that could be in the cards if they look like they're outmanned and outclassed tonight, in my opinion. Also,
very good. St. Louis team total over at 2.5 minus 117. That's tempting as well.
By the way, real quick, Bobano, just a quick recap. Are you still doing the game 1 series split there with St. Louis and Colorado?
Plus 360, and I'll mention 2 others that I'm looking at in this series as well. Plus 2.5 games, St. Louis Blues minus 155. That's the St. Louis Blues plus 2.5 games minus 155 against Colorado, because I do believe they can push this to 6 games. Again, I don't think they're going to win the series, but I think they can push it a little bit to 6. Hell, maybe even 7, but I think they can get it to at least 6. And there's one more that I wanted to mention because I'm not on tomorrow. I'll mention it now for tomorrow's games. Calgary, Edmonton to go 7 plus 210. That is a bet as well for me. That is at, let me just see. I've got it written down here. Plus 210 at DraftKings, Edmonton, Calgary series to go 7 games. I think that's going to be a long one, tough one, very difficult to call a winner. I think I'd side slightly with Calgary in that series, but when Edmonton's got Connor McDavid playing at the level he is, and I had Matt Carey, former pro hockey player, on the show yesterday with me saying, don't worry about Leon Draisaitl's ankle sprain. He's going to get this Hydra Ice, treatment that apparently all these players get. And that ankle, he said, by game 3, Leon Draisaitl is going to be close to 100% again. Maybe in game 1, it's still bothering him a little bit. Game 2, it's still bothering him a little bit. But by game 3, Leon Draisaitl, they say, is going to be probably feeling pretty good on that ankle again. So that obviously is significant for the Oilers and their chances. And one more, Carolina Rangers. I'm on the game 1 series double there as well. Carolina to win game 1, Carolina to win the series, plus 102 against the New York Rangers at FanDuel. I think they'll win game 1. Look, they're unbeaten at home here in the playoffs, 4-0 in the first round at home against Boston. Now, the Rangers are going to be a little bit more difficult than Boston, but Rangers coming off a game 7 overtime win at home. It's kind of like the Tampa spot, right? A little bit of a bet against spot. I think it could be tough for the Rangers to get into the series in game 1 against Carolina, much like it might be for Tampa tonight against Florida. So Carolina to win game 1 and the series, plus 102.
That's great. And Ian Cameron, we all have our biases in everything in life, especially sports betting. One of my biases in NHL is when there's one of these goalies that's just friggin' elite. You know what I mean? Top 3, best goalie in the league or whatever. A lot of times I'm a little bit gun shy about betting against that team. What's your take on Chesty right now? How good is he, or overrated or underrated is he right now in your opinion?
Well, he found it in game 6 and 7. Those were no doubt the best 2 games he played in that series, and he made a bunch of big saves. He also, though, at times, it's still that Evan Rodriguez short-handed breakaway goal in game 7. I thought he gave up too much of the net, and he was backing up. He was backing up into the blue paint, backing up toward the net, the goal line area, and he just left too much room for Evan Rodriguez to shoot that puck over the shoulder. That's still when Igor's on his game, like really on top of his game. He's challenging a guy coming in on him on a breakaway much better than that. So, and look, he still played much better in 6 and 7 against Pittsburgh than he did earlier in that series. But he, like that Rangers team in front of him, has to elevate even more here in the second round against Carolina. Carolina is just loaded. 4 lines, they roll them out, and they can all do some damage. They're all great on the forecheck. They're all extremely fast. It's amazing how fast the puck movement, the skating ability is of Carolina. 1 through 6, the blue line is strong. There's no Norris Trophy candidates, but boy, they are a terrific blue line 1 through 6. And look, the one question is probably Antti Raanta. If he's the guy in net, can he do it again? He was great against Boston. No complaints. Antti Raanta was fine. Can he be that way again? If he can, it's going to be a much tougher series for the Rangers.
Man, Ian Cameron, an authoritative voice, and also the knowledge to back it up. A lot of guys have authoritative voices, and they're just completely full of shit when you look at it on paper and without the voice. Ian Cameron has both. Ian Cameron, hell yeah. Awesome analysis. Thanks so much. I'm going to be on Carolina tomorrow as well. I haven't bet that one yet, but that seals it for me. That's what I was thinking as well.
Beautiful.
Right.
Just a
Awesome
quick
stuff.
recap, Ian. Just a quick recap of all your plays before we get you out of here. Florida win the series, game 1 money line plus 128. Florida money line minus 155. St. Louis Blues money line plus 195. Actually, plus 196. I think you got actually. So we'll see there. St. Louis to win the first game and Colorado win the series plus 360. You also took St. Louis Blues first period money line plus 155. And the over in that game, 6.5 at minus 128, as well as St. Louis plus 2.5 games, minus 155. Calgary, Edmonton to go 7 games, plus 210. And the Carolina Hurricanes to win game 1 and the series at plus 102. Is that all right?
That sounds perfect. Yep, you nailed it, Jose. Well done.
Look at that. We are rolling, shooting, and firing on all cylinders today. Thank you, Ian Cameron, for joining us. You are my guy, as always. We'll see you soon. We'll see you on the NBA.
I just want to say one thing. Cindy Plays Horses says, totally disagree. Leon at best, only 75% if it goes 7 games.
Well, you're muted there, Ian.
Okay. Okay. It's great to have that opinion. There's nothing wrong with that. But all I'm going to say about that comment, guys, is I had a pro hockey player that played decades of pro hockey telling me that by game, with all the treatment that you can take now as a player for an ankle sprain, that you could be close, maybe not at 100%, but close to 100% by game 3 is what he's saying. I'll trust his opinion. That's all I'll say about that. Guy played in the hockey for 10 years professionally. So I think I'll take his opinion. Thanks.
I've been saying for years that whenever there's injury issues in the NFL, but you see that a guy's playing, I'm just a complete believer in all the drugs and the steroids and shit. They load those guys up with everything. For those few hours, they're ready to play. But yeah, no, it's important to think about though, for sure. Cheshire Cat.
Give Cheshire Cat some time. He's a good friend of mine. He's always when I'm on a show anywhere, he's there. So yeah, give him some love.
Shout out to Cheshire Cat, of course. Shout out to them.
And shout out to Cheshire Cat, who made a great comment. Why in the hell would someone bet the Blues? I'm not betting them. You'd have to ask them. I can't answer that.
It's gonna be a fun day. Bobano, thank you so much for joining us. Long hockey talk. Not a brisk pace like we're usually doing, Pete, but I love it. I love it. It was a good overarching breakdown on game 1. Thank you, Ian Cameron. Where can people find you next, by the way? You're on the NBA Pub Hub, correct?
Yeah, we are back. Obviously, yesterday there was no games, but we're back with game 1 of the Eastern Conference Final tonight, Celtics and Heat, and we'll, of course, break it down, 4 p.m. Eastern. And with just one game, sides, totals, we'll talk about that as always, but tons of player prop analysis and discussion. We're really going to dive into the player props with now just one game a day in the NBA. So looking forward to it. Pub Hub later today, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Ian Cameron, for joining us. Now, Pete, for your NHLs, by the way, quick recap for you, my guy. You're on Tampa Bay, Florida, over 5.5 minus 200. The Colorado St. Louis Blues over 5.5 minus 200. And the first period over 1.5 minus 170, correct?
Although Billy Friedrich found 168 at bookmaker, so let's give it that. Huge shout out to Billy Friedrich.
Shout out to Billy Friedrich. We need every cent we can get, Pete. Every cent we can get. Now, Pete, it's time. Pete, I'll be honest, you've been the white whale. I've been chasing you for a while now, Pete. And I had to get Jimmy to go on vacation to secure your spot on Say Hey Plays, Pete. So how about we do a little wardrobe change and let's get into, Pete, Say Hey Plays 41. Say Hey Plays 41 now, and the record has plummeted, as you guys have seen. It's been ugly. But I've got one official play, and guess what, Pete? The line has already moved against me. It's moved down half a run, and we're going to talk about some comments here, give some guys some love, and do our thing here. First, let's re-shout out our guy Ron Crawford with the NHL Spreadsheet Pod on those Colorado Avalanche in regulation. Beautiful there. And we've got a little taint action today. Pete, Matty Ice coming in on the Astros money line. Plus 100. Astros hitters pound Eovaldi. Tucker on fire with the wind blowing out to right. And he said Eovaldi is struggling right now. So shout out to Taint. Shout out to Taint. I've got one play, like I mentioned, Pete, so far. We'll talk about it when we get there. 15-game card, but I think we can mow through 2, 4, 6 of these games pretty quickly, Pete, because we've got 3 doubleheaders today and a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the pitching matchups. I know you're not a big fan of the doubleheaders, Pete.
No, I actually am. I just make my bets. I rarely bet a game 2 without knowing what happened in game 1. And no, I actually quite like doubleheaders, but it's hard to give analysis and picks before game 1 has even started.
Hey, you're right there. I'll tell you, I've learned that they are my worst nightmare. I can't stand doubleheaders now. The uncertainty with the pitching matchups is incredibly annoying. And the only certainty we had was this first one, Dylan Cease versus Jonathan, a.k.a. John Heasley. Heasley? We can't know your name unless you have made a couple starts in the majors, John. You've made 1 so far at the Rangers, 3 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, a K, 4 walks. So pretty good start actually there. Maybe I shouldn't be disrespecting him as much. Versus Dylan Cease, Dylon Cease here. 3-1, 3.55. Obviously, he's a lot of people's pick to win the Cy Young this year. At the Yankees, or at home for the Yankees last time out. Got rocked, playing out in simple. 4 innings, 6 hits, 6 earned runs off 2 home runs. He had 11 Ks, but 2 walks. I think he actually recorded it's 4 times 3 is 12. So 1 out, not on strikeouts there. So that's pretty insane to think about on 6 earned runs. At Boston last time before that against the Yankees start for him. He went 5 innings, 4 hit, 1 earned run, 8 Ks, 3 walks. Right now, both these guys are righties, so 24th are the Royals against righties, 91 weighted runs created plus, and 106 weighted runs created plus for the White Sox. Climbing up, they were worst in the league for a while. This month, they are 19th, 106. So I will pass on this game entirely, Pete. What about you?
Cease got crushed, obviously, in his last start against KC. Should be a lot better. Heasley's a big unknown here. Looks vulnerable to me, but the White Sox, they've done better against righties recently, but overall their numbers are not good, and you just got that massive favorite line. So my initial lean at the current line would be to KC at that line, but I definitely haven't bet it. Not going to bet it. This is the kind of game that in the second half of the season, I feel a lot more comfortable pulling the trigger on with my leans or whatever thoughts I had. Right now, this is the kind of game that I would pass on. Obviously, the White Sox have a dangerous lineup against a suspect starting pitcher, but at those odds, I can't pull the trigger on it. I would expect Cease to have a better start here, a bounce back start, but I'm not going to bet the White Sox for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to either. Perhaps a team total look. I'm trying to look. Actually, on Bovada, they've locked all the team totals. So, actually, that game might be starting soon. No, it starts at 1, I think. So, no, not even.
2 o'clock Eastern, 2 hours it starts, yeah.
Yeah, so, they've locked all the team totals. Maybe a team total look, but not for me there. Bruce Hayward wants to know lineups here. Let me give it a good refresh for RotoWire. We only have 1 confirmed lineup from the Royals. It's Merrifield, Benintendi, Salvi, O'Hearn, Dozier, Witt, MJ Melendez going to get the start at catcher for game 1, so we'll see Salvi in both games. Kyle Isbell and Nicky Lopez taking shortstop. So, nothing there from either one of us there, Pete. And we can move on from game 2 because we've got no White Sox pitcher yet. I don't know if anyone else in the chat can let us know, but we for sure have Brady Singer. Nothing for us here. Let us know if you've got anything on game 2 in the chat. Let's talk about the next game, which has more question marks. Like we mentioned, Arizona Diamondbacks versus Los Angeles Dodgers here. And I think 5 minutes before the show, I looked up and I'm seeing a Ryan Peptop
Yeah.
back on the bump here for the Dodgers versus Tyler Gilbert. I just found out his pep talk 5 minutes ago. I thought he is not a horrible pitcher. Let me look up how he did last time out before I say this. But I mean, it is tough to bet the Diamondbacks against the Dodgers for sure. And Pep Top last time out at the Pirates went 3 innings of one hit ball. He went 5 walks, but 3 strikeouts there. So obviously the Dodgers believe in this guy, and I think he will probably do well, but no lines for me, nothing here. So complete pass.
Yeah, he's a typical youngster situation where the team is high on him, but he has command issues to start his major league career. And this game didn't have a line before we went live. Now I'm seeing the Dodgers about minus 200, total about 9. So I haven't run those numbers on those lines yet. I might have a bet on this one. The Dodgers obviously have a lineup that's for real. Questions with the starting pitching though, but a great bullpen. So I would be leaning Dodgers here, but I'll have to see the lineup and have to do a little bit more analysis before I pull the trigger on it.
Beautiful. And the chat letting us know Giolito coming back on Tuesday or Wednesday this week. So shout out to that. Next game, this other half of this doubleheader, Merle Kelly versus Tyler Anderson. And let's see here, because I did not have a line here, I guess. I've got one now, plus 156, minus 190 for both these squads. And we know Merle Kelly has been pretty great this year. So plus 156 is pretty high, I think, there. You get the first 5 total at 4 here, Pete. My first instinct would be to lean towards the Diamondbacks first 5, perhaps. But Merle Kelly, let's see, his last start, I should say, versus the Miami Marlins at home, 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 home run, 4 Ks, 2 walks, and that was coming off of his almost complete game there, 8 2/3 of 1 earned run ball there. Away this year so far, Merle Kelly. Let's see here, Merle Kelly away. He has 29 innings at home. 2.7 ERA, 2.17, and at home he has not given up more than 2 runs. He's given up 1 run all year, 13 innings at 0.69, a very nice ERA there. So another stay off game for me, but maybe a first 5 under here because Tyler Anderson is not a slouch either. And I think he could definitely stifle the Diamondbacks bats here. What about you, Pete?
Coming off that start where he got hit by Philly, I would expect a better start from Anderson. I don't love the fact that I don't love the fact he's going against Kelly and getting such a big line. I would not be opposed to a first 5 under. We'll see how the first game goes, or maybe just Arizona team total under might be something I would consider as well.
Cashman reminding us Kelly threw versus the Dodgers earlier this year, gave up 2 runs in the first, got out of trouble, and pitched good the rest of the game. We remember that as the start that basically legitimized Merle Kelly this year, and we all figured out that, he's going to be bet on. So that will be very interesting to see. I mean, I will be. I don't know. I think it'll be fun. And by the way, a lot of good comments. Everyone loves the suit. Or the blazer, I should say, when I wear it, Pete. I get a lot of, I'm coming off of a birthday cake. I'm going to a bar mitzvah. I'm going to a wedding. I'm going to be an usher at a wedding. So, I mean, I'm getting a lot of that. And, I'm glad
when I first saw it, I was like, oh, Jose starts things off 1 zip over me. Definitely looking good. If it had been, if you had been wearing a tie, I would have been like, all right, whatever, what he's doing. But with the no tie, but buttoned all the way to the top with that collar, I was like, fuck, that's a good look. He got me. You got me.
Well, I will be transparent. This is, in fact, the blazer I wore to my sister's wedding. So I did get it for that explicit purpose. So that
again, the shirt, but with no tie. Yeah,
hold on. Hey, I'll help you out here. I'll unbutton the top.
No.
There we go. So we're fine. We're fine, Pete. We're unbuttoning it. We're feeling good. We're
way
casual.
No. See now, I'm just like, all right. But no, buttoned all the way up to the top. I was like, damn. All right, he got it. He got me on that one. Yeah.
Well, let's quickly pass over these next 2 games. I don't even have graphics for them because I couldn't get these starting pitchers. And shout out to Victor, who actually made the graphics today and allowed me more time to prepare. Miles Mikolas and the Mets versus the Cardinals, I should say. Let's restart all that. Miles Mikolas and the Cardinals versus the Mets. I've got Trevor Williams on the other side. No opinion. Kind of like the over, honestly. Mikolas has been great this year, but on RotoWire right now, I'll refresh real quick to make sure we've got 17 mile per hour winds out, allegedly. Now, RotoWire, obviously, weather not always the most reliable, so double check us that, but I would lean towards an over here for sure, just based off the weather factors. Trevor Williams has not been, phenomenal this year. Mikolas has been. Perhaps you can look specifically at a Cardinals team total over. But I'm trying to look for game 1 here of this game. I actually only have game 2 right now, which is hilarious. So, yeah, I don't even have a line for this game. So,
yeah, I just refreshed and I'm seeing a line. Mets small favorite, and the total is 8.5 juiced under.
Yeah, see, I know that's lovely. I don't even have it. Yeah, I would lean over, I guess, but yeah, I don't have a line, can't bet it. And ultimately, it's just a pass game for me. Like I said, these double headers are just, are a little weird. I can't bet them right now. And I'm realizing that Buck Showalter loves to keep us guessing with his pitchers. Just hold. So we'll see.
Yeah, the second game, though, is kind of interesting. In general, I've had a pretty good read on Matz. He's a high volatility with him. He, a lot of times will have like a 6 or 7 inning shutout start or 3 innings and give up, 6 runs or something. And I don't always guess right on him, but I feel like I've been guessing right more often than not throughout his career. He's gotten hit in his last 2 starts. And Taijuan Walker also is a little bit iffy for me as well. He's getting grounders. He's pitching to contact. Not really getting strikeouts, crushed by Philly, recently. And so I'm thinking that, but St. Louis, St. Louis is a team that, do you have anything to say about St. Louis in general? I feel like they have underachieved a bit this year offensively and in general as a team, but maybe I'm wrong. The St. Louis right now is a classic example of a team that I have a not so good read on at this point in the season, but by the second half of the season, we'll have a much clearer feel for, and probably will be doing well with them in the second half of the season. As of right now, I'm still feeling my way. What's your take on St. Louis in general, offensively, and as a team to bet on or against?
Well, I do like the Cardinals, honestly. I picked them to make the playoffs this year. I picked them to win this division, actually. The Brewers' offense has been a surprise to me. They've been 5-5 in their last 5, so they've been pretty meh. Baseball, I should say MLB.com actually has expected win-loss now on their standings, and their expected win-loss is 21-13 when their actual record is 19-15. So maybe a little bit of
St. Louis you're talking about?
Yes, that's St. Louis. Yeah. So, and by the way, the Brewers' record is 23-13, and their expected win-loss is 21-15. So, right there beside each other. I like the Cardinals in a lot of aspects. I think them DFAing Paul DeJong, their shortstop, former 30 home run dude. I think that's interesting, and maybe they're just trying to find questions or answers that way. And I definitely think this is a team to watch out for in the trade deadline too, going forward. I think I like this team, and I think they'll be dangerous. Yeah. I don't want to put this out in the universe, Pete, because personally, if this happens, I will go into a dark place, and I'll need to be held. I don't know. But they're looking for a shortstop, and I know a shortstop in the American League East who is about to be a free agent this year on a team that has not been good this year so far and has been lowballing him contract-wise. And I don't know what they would give this other team, but just makes sense. And it would really hurt my feelings, Pete. Let's just put it like that. It would really hurt my feelings.
Okay. I think we all know who you're talking about, but we won't mention the name.
No.
Yeah. This is an interesting game. In game 1, I don't really want to fade Michaelis, and I'm going to and pass on that. But yeah, game 2.
It's interesting. I like the pitching matchup there of Matz and Walker better. Matz is very wishy-washy, so definitely would take the Mets there. And Matt's against his former team always that inspiration. So that'll be fun to watch. It'll be a fun game to watch, but Matt's is just too unpredictable to bet on. Shout out to Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play. We'll talk about it when we get there. My God, but I appreciate you putting it in here. And let's move on to the actual games that we can actually get a read on, Pete. The Cincinnati Reds versus the Cleveland Guardians. Connor Overton, Zach Plesac here. And Zach Plesac has been horrifying his last few starts. And I really like Zach Plesac. I thought he was a good pitcher. And last 3 starts, he has not shown to be that. Let's talk about at the White Sox. 6 1/3, 5 runs, 4 earned. Versus the Padres at home, 5 innings, 5 earned runs, 4 earned. At the LA Angels, 3 2/3, 7 runs, 6 earned. Versus the White Sox, his last good start, 3 starts ago now. I guess 4 starts ago now, if you're going to count this one, it was 6 2/3, 2 runs. He has just been a runs machine. So honestly, and I expect, like I mentioned on top of the show, I kind of expect Connor Overton to regress.
Yeah,
he's been phenomenal this year at the Pirates 2 times, or I should say 2 times versus the Pirates. 1 last time out at the Pirates, 6 1/3, no earned runs there, 1 strikeout, 4 Ks, and then once at home, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 Ks. At the Rockies as well, dominated them, 5 1/3, 1 earned run. I think he's regresses eventually. This Guardians offense has been good. I lean over 8 and the first 5 over 4 minus 125. But I didn't officially make those plays. I wanted to talk it out first, Pete.
Well, questionable minds think alike, I think, because I was thinking over as well. I did bet this one. The line is suspiciously low. The first half total is just 4. Both these starting pitchers, as you said, have questionable stats overall on the year, and their peripherals are, I think, even more questionable, both of them. So I would, I think I did bet this one. Again, I'm a little bit hesitant at this point in the year with all of my bets, but I might make this one official because if both these starters hold both these lineups to 3 or less in the first 5 innings, I'll just say, okay, I was wrong, and I'll eat a loss of a unit and a little bit more. First half total is just 4 minus 122 for the over at Pinnacle, which honestly has me scratching my head a little bit, but I think I'll make that one official. First half over 4 minus 122. Again, both these starting pitchers questionable. Both lineups, probably have overachieved a little bit recently, but are good enough. And I think I'll make that one official. What do you think about that, Jose Bouquet?
Well, Pete, I'm going to join you as well. I'm getting a little bit of a worse line. I'm getting a minus 125. We, of course, will give you the minus 123, I believe you said. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I like that. I wrote down, by the way, when the lines came out, I guess this was an 8. Or I should say when Victor made the graphics, it was an 8. Now it's an 8.5. So makes me feel better about this as well. So you're getting the first 5 over 4 at minus 123. Beautiful there, Pete. Let's keep it moving here. Okay. Brisk pace as we do here. Pete, by the way, that's everyone's favorite thing about me, apparently. They don't like, well, they do like the look. They don't like the analysis. They just care about the brisk pace. Let's just get in and out as fast as we can. And these are 2 seconds that I think are valuable. I also like the over here as well, full game, because the bullpens are nothing to write home about either for either of these teams. So I would like the over 8 as well. Okay, beautiful. You're going to go with the over 8 as well, full game. Let me see. What line did you get that at?
Yeah, I just said that I would like it, not necessarily that I wanted to make it official. Okay. But let's make it official. At Heritage, I'm seeing minus. Oh, it went. Yeah, all right. We can keep a brisk pace, and then I'll
brisk pace, Peter.
Minus 113 at Pinnacle. Yeah.
Beautiful. So you go.
Or no, minus 110 at Will Hill. Good old Will Hill, minus 110. Give me that one. Yeah.
Beautiful, Pete. Over 8, minus 110. You said 8, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's go. Let's keep it going here. Next game, Detroit Tigers, Tampa Bay Rays here. Our guy, Bo Brisky here versus Shane McClanahan. And we obviously know what Shane McClanahan is about. He is fully about that life. And he is a minus almost 300 favorite here for a reason. The Tigers have plummeted down to the red zone. of being horrifyingly bad. Let's see, last 10, I think it was last 10. Actually, they picked it up a little bit.
Yeah.
We're on a 4-game winning streak. Here we go. Tigers are back. That last time I remember the Tigers, they're on a 9-game losing streak, but they've turned it around. 5-5 last 10, 4-game winning streak. I don't believe in them, obviously. I can't bet anything with the Rays. Everything's too juice for me.
Yes.
22nd are the Rays against righties, 99 weighted runs created plus. And the Tigers have picked their offense up to over average, I'd say a little above average against lefties this month. 12th, 103 weighted runs created plus. So I expect Shane McClanahan to dominate them all intents and purposes. Maybe a run line, but that's probably like a minus 130. So nothing here for me, Pete. What about you?
Yeah, I actually had a losing day yesterday, but one of the games that I won with was the Detroit game. I had the under, and I had the Detroit team total under. So even though they won, I had the Detroit team total under at 3.5, and they cashed. You know, they're much better against lefties, but McClanahan, of course, is legitimately awesome. I think Tampa Bay will hit Detroit's starter, but the line was just too high at minus 250. I couldn't pull the trigger on that. Thinking maybe about the Tampa Bay team total over. What's your 10-second brisk pace thought on the Tampa Bay team total over here? What's your take on them offensively?
They'd be great. I mean, well, let's start with this. It's hilarious how often they can get no hit, the Tampa Bay Rays, especially by pitchers that stink. Shout out to Reed Detmers, who we'll talk about later today. So Bo Brisky does fall into that category.
Yeah.
It's very hit or miss with the Tampa Bay Rays, but this month it's been it's been average this month against righties. So I ultimately don't want to put anything on this game.
Yeah.
And them being at home makes me feel better about it. But yeah, I think there are better games on the card.
Going to be a pass for me, even though the total is 6.5. The Tampa Bay team total is still 4.5 with the juice to the under, but still 4.5. All right, I'll pass on it as well.
Beautiful. And by the way, I should say Kyle Henley, and my bad. Shout out to Sam, though, in the chat. Kyle Henley, 1K banger. Tampa Bay minus 2.5 there. So shout out to him. Beautiful. So let's move on. Next game, Washington, Miami Marlins. Cody Poteet here versus Yoan Adon. And I talked about how Flexen, if you put a future on Flexen to lead the league in losses, you were feeling great. Yoan Adon is your main competition here, and he's 1-6 so far, 7.03 ERA, gives up runs like it is his job. Versus the Mets last time out, 3 2/3, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 Ks, 5 walks. At the Angels, 5 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, 5 walks there. Nationals offense against righties, Pete. You'll be shocked to hear this, perhaps. This month, 6th, 125 weighted runs created plus there.
Against righties.
Against righties.
All right, yeah. Well, they have Soto, who's a lefty and the best hitter in baseball, right?
There you go. So Cody Poteet, a righty himself, like we just mentioned. First start of the year this year. He's been, kind of a long bullpen guy, comes in, does his thing. He went at Arizona last time out, 4 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 Ks. So that was probably the wake-up call. Hey, maybe we could use this guy, huh? Maybe we use this guy. At the Padres, 1 inning, no hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 1 K. And versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, and his first start against them, 2 2/3, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 Ks, and 1 walk. Honestly, Pete, I was thinking to the over here again, minus 105, over 8.5 here. Miami Marlins 17th against righties at 106, weighted runs created plus 2. I think the Miami Marlins offense is, pretty good. Obviously, they've shown themselves to be legit. So over 8.5 would be my lane here so far. What about you, Pete?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pass here. Obviously, on paper, Adon looks like an auto fade game in and game out, which I think is an accurate way to look at him. But, Miami at home coming off of the big win, as a big favorite with that starter, and the current line at minus 160 or whatever it is, I couldn't pull the trigger on it. And of course I thought about the Miami team total over, and the first 5 team total over is tempting as well. So, if I did bet this one, it would just be an auto fade of Adon with Miami team total over 2.5 first 5 innings. But in today's environment, especially with a team like Miami in their park, take it even against Adon. Taking a first 5 team total over 2.5 is tough, and I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. So that's my take on this one.
No, I agree with you. It's sketchy. I don't take many of them, though they look like they've been hitting lately. Just still a scary proposition for me. Let's move on to this next game. We can move off of it quickly as well because we've got the San Diego Padres and Mike Clevenger versus the Phillies. And who the fuck knows? Anyone know who's starting for the Phillies today?
No, I have not seen this. Although I was hoping we would. I mean, it was supposed to be Eflin, but that's why I saw it was likely. But I don't know if that's official. And I was maybe going to give team total over for Philly, against Clevenger if we had a line. But I'm not seeing a line yet. I'm expecting Eflin.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a line either as well. Why don't you like Clevenger, Pete?
It's not that I don't like him necessarily. I mean, it's a great story, obviously. But the Philly offense is for real. And, I also, even if he pitches well, probably won't go that deep. And I don't mind fading the Pods bullpen as well. It's just, the Phillies offense against a questionable pitching staff is something at this point in the season I'm always thinking about taking a team total over with.
All right, beautiful. And by the way, Phillies against righties, 5th right now this month, 126 weighted runs created plus, so 26% above average this month. So definitely don't hate it. Hate it. Just wanted to hear your Mike Clevenger take always. But let's talk about.
We have no line on this one anywhere, huh?
Nothing. I couldn't find anything. So just a complete pass, stay off spot. Maybe by the end of this segment, we'll look back and see if there's a line and Eflin is in there. But RotoWire does have Eflin in there as well. So we'll see when Joe Girardi makes that official. Older managers taking their sweet ass time to make these lineups official. Next game, let's talk about the Yankees of New York. Jamison Tyone on the bump versus the Orioles and Spencer Watkins. And Pete, I'll let you just take it away. You're in New York, you're in the Bronx. Subway Series happening this year. You know the pulse of the people, Pete. The Yankees are on fire. What's the worst that can happen, Pete?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who give opinions on all these games and all these teams, but I am here in New York on the ground, so I'm on the scene. I'm not sitting
on the ground,
air-conditioned studio talking about the Yankees. I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in the Bronx. I'm on the 6th train.
Yeah,
every day I'm there, so I know what's going on here. No,
listen to shit.
I did have a losing day yesterday. But, and we'll talk about that because, so if you had all these winners, where did your losing day come from? 2 words, Noah Syndergaard. But we'll talk about that later. I bet the Yankees yesterday. Solid bet. And, of course, cashed with it. Took a -1. At this point, I'm used to the Yankees having a huge lineup and being, in general, overvalued. And this is going back 35 years or however long it's been. I don't even remember. But at this season, this year, this month, that is not the case. The Yanks really are legitimately just too good for many teams offensively, almost regardless of the starting pitcher. And Baltimore is one of those teams that I think they match up just well against. If you give them 9 innings, they're probably going to be a good bet to come out on top. And that's the way I'm feeling here as well, despite the fact that the Yankees are huge road favorite and off of a win. And the only thing that makes me nervous is just the line is a little bit suspiciously low, even though they're a huge road favorite. Baltimore, much better against righties, but still, I did bet the Yankees, kind of a no-brainer play when the line came out. I'm assuming the line's moved in their favor. I wouldn't be opposed to making that play official. And once again, I like the Yankees here. I believe Tyone has not so good career numbers, though, against Baltimore. Is that correct?
Let's look here, Pete. 58 plate appearances against Baltimore batters here. He's going to have 14 hits, 252, 464 batting average against, 3 home runs. So not awful. 1 for 10. Trey Mancini, 3 for 9. Cedric Mullins with 2 home runs there. Santander, 1 for 7 with the home run. Odor, 0 for 7. Austin Hayes Austin Hayes only is 2 for, or sorry, Austin Hayes does get to him. 6 for 8. I was trying to read that correctly, and I was like, well, that can't be right. Hitting 750 off him. So Austin Hayes props might be a play today if you're looking at him there. Both these offenses are top 10 against righties this month, Pete. And I don't know why this is an 8. Don't know why this is an 8. This seems like a really low number. I'll be honest. I don't understand that. But right now, actually, let's refresh my Bovada. We've got an 8.5 now at minus or at even money. So makes sense. I would lean towards the over 8 here too, but I'm staying off this one. It feels like that ballpark has just bit me with the overs so far. And I'm just going to not bet them there anymore. It's just too big for me anymore, I guess. Too big that park is. Let's move on to the next game, Pete. A game that I'm actually very excited to talk about. And one of my guys this year is finally encountering some struggles here. Logan Gilbert of the Seattle Mariners versus Jose Barrios and the Toronto Blue Jays here. I'm a Logan Gilbert guy. Everyone knows this. But last 2 starts, 4 runs, 3 of them earned in the Tampa Bay start, and all of them earned against Philadelphia last time out. So 8 runs his last 2 starts, and he only allowed 2 runs his first 6 starts. So this is his first rocky spell here. Does he bounce out of it? I looked at the line last night, and it's gone the Blue Jays' way now with Jose Barrios. That's worrisome, and it seems like, I'll be honest, it seems like almost every start now, it's been quite a few of them. The money always goes against Logan Gilbert. I don't really know why it is, and he's beaten it once or twice this year, but he's pitched well, and now it seems like he's coming back to the mean. I'm not sure, but honestly, I wanted Seattle in some form or fashion here. I haven't moved on it yet. Maybe the best option is to wait and see if the line keeps going up, but Jose Barrios doesn't inspire confidence. I'm not a big fan of his. He does pitch better at home, slightly, I guess. 13 innings this year so far at home, a 4.85 ERA. On the road this year, a 6.43 ERA with 21 innings pitched so far. So, want Seattle in some form or fashion, but the offense has been a little scary, and the Blue Jays offense has been horrible too. So, didn't want the over. Might take Seattle first 5 money line. Just wanted to hear from you, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, once again, unfortunately, mediocre minds often think alike, and I think we have, Exhibit 5058 here once again. I was leading Seattle as well. Toronto, at some point, I'm sure will bust out of it offensively at some point in the year. Probably on the road, probably against lefties. At this point, there's something off with them offensively, and Springer is still out, right? I'm assuming, right? Springer is out, right?
Let me double check and refresh RotoWire. I don't expect him to be in there. I don't think. Let's let the chat let us know as well. But
because I'm seeing him listed on RotoWire, but
yeah, and it's only expected right now,
right.
So it just puts in all the dudes. So yeah, I don't think those will be reliable. But let us know in the chat if you guys expect Springer to be in. I don't think he will be in.
Right. Yeah. As a dog with this, with the starting pitching matchup here, I was definitely leaning Seattle at least early. It's not necessarily a fade of Barrios. It's more just a little bit of a fade of Toronto, a little bit of a bet on Gilbert and Seattle, and a little bit of just taking advantage of a dog line. And I think I will put that as an official play. I think I will take Seattle. I just have to decide if I want to take them first 5 or first 3, or if I want to take them on the money line or on a +0.5 line. Any interesting comments or thoughts before I decide officially what I want to do here?
Well, I will say, chat letting us know Springer played last night off of his sprained ankle.
Oh, okay, right.
And he DH'd Sunday, so he should be good to go there and should be back. But yeah, I just don't want to bet Barrios, and I want to double check the Bovada first 5 money line because I have an addiction, Pete, to betting Logan Gilbert, I guess. So it's Seattle first 5 +110 for me, and I think that will be my first addition to the card, or I should say second, because I'm on the Cincinnati Cleveland one. But yeah, take moving on that one, Pete. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean it's +122 at Pinnacle right now. The +0.5 is -118. Look, again, I like it. The fact that you like it is not good, but it's not going to put enough to put me off of it. No, I had to go for the joke here. We're trying to make good content here. I'll take it. I'll take the Pinnacle line. I'll take Seattle first 5 +0.5 -118. I should probably take this money line, but I'd like to get a win there. I'll take the first 5 plus a half, minus 118. That's the current line at Pinnacle. We can make that one official. Something tells me maybe it'd be a good idea to double up here and maybe take like at Will Hill the Seattle first 3 line or something like that. But I guess I won't go crazy. Yeah, the first 3 is plus 110 for Seattle. I'm not jazzed about fading Barrios in this spot, but I'm willing to do it. And I'll take the first 5 plus a half, minus 118.
Beautiful. Plus a half, minus 118 for Pete. Both of us on Seattle there. Should be an interesting
Benny
game.
1 of 1. Gilbert has a bad showing, and he's on auto fade till further notice. Wow.
Well, I won't be as dramatic as Benny 1 of 1 there, but if he does have another bad performance, I will not be betting on him going forward, and we'll need for him to show me something. So I agree with the sentiment there, just not as dramatically as you are, my man. But shout out to you. And let's get on to this next game, because this next game is the taint play of the day. And Matty Ice plunges a dagger right into my back, and he's taking the Houston Astros money line at even money. Let's get a taint. Taint play of the day on those Astros. Jose Urquidy on one side, 3 innings last time out at Minnesota, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 Ks, no walks versus Detroit Tigers. Before that, 6 innings, 6 hits, no earned runs, 3 Ks, and 1 walk. Boston Red Sox fans will remember Jose Urquidy fondly for having a blow-up start in the ALCS against these Red Sox. 1 1/3, a bunch of earned runs, made me feel great about myself, convinced me that the Red Sox were going to go to the World Series. Joke's on me. Versus Nate Eovaldi, who is the Red Sox ace, but has been struggling as of late. Yeah. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 6 Ks, 1 walk at Atlanta. Like Reds against the White Sox, another 3 earned run performance, 5 innings, 6 hits, another home run there, 4 Ks, 3 walks. Here's the thing. I think I've seen this before, and there are just certain teams that kind of get to players. And I think the Astros do get to Eovaldi. Last year as well, he had to start against him. 5 2/3, 11 hits, 5 earned runs, 5 Ks, 3 walks. Obviously, that was with Correa, so you can say that's a different team. But point is, I think that there will be a high-scoring game today, Pete. And this is the bet that I locked in last night, and has actually moved against me concerningly, and makes me feel shittier about it. But I took the over 9 here, full game at minus 105. The wind blowing as well, like Matty Ice said earlier today, is blowing, I think, say right to right field. And right now on RotoWire, let me double check here. I just want to see how hard it is blowing, because it was going earlier. Yeah, it's got 14 miles an hour. So I like the wind conditions today. The Red Sox offense has been pitching better. I think Urquidy is not great. I especially say that I like betting him only on the road or only at home, not on the road. So give me the over 8 or over the 9 here. I have it at minus 105.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jose.
I'm about to say, hey, what about you?
Okay. So this one is I don't like either of the starting pitchers going forward in terms of performance relative to how they've done so far. I don't really like the peripherals for Eovaldi, but I also don't like the peripherals for Urquidy either. I'm actually a little bit more down on Urquidy than Eovaldi. Also down on the Boston bullpen, though. And I don't expect that to improve significantly at any point in the future. One of my losses yesterday was on the Astros team total over. I lost that one. I got 4, and of course they scored 3. But I think I'll go back that well again. It's because of Urquidy, I don't necessarily want to bet Houston, but just because of the way baseball is right now, I don't necessarily want to bet an over or a first 5 over. I think I'll go with the Will Hill line. I'm seeing the Houston team total over 4 at minus 118. 4 minus 118, and I'll make that official. Houston Astros team total over 4 minus 118. 3.5 is minus 150. I could take that. I'll just go with 4 minus 118. Again, Eovaldi not terrible. but I don't like his peripherals. I do expect him to regress. Boston bullpen, don't really like them. But Urquidy, don't really like him either. So, a first 5 over would not be objectionable to me either, although you'd have to take a 4.5, which is a little scary. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to a first half over either at 4.5.
Yeah, I think the win's a big factor here. And the reason, and I'll say this, the reason I'm not on the Astros here, and Puzzler, I believe it was Cashman, excuse me, Cashman saying, don't be afraid to bet on the Red Sox if you like the Astros, get to Eovaldi. They'll also probably get to their bad bullpen. And I will say this, I think Eovaldi will get touched here, but I just think that Urquidy will too. And
Right.
the Red Sox being a minus 124 favorite, like I said yesterday, they're like minus 130 something. And I was like, that's weird. Like they've been playing pretty poorly in 2 games against the Texas Rangers. I don't think they deserve to be a minus 130 favorite. And I was like, that's probably just like an indicator that they are probably going to win this game. So that's why I took their team total over again after taking the loss at the Rangers. I kind of feel the same way about this one. I don't know why it's at even money again. I think the Rangers or the Astros are a better team than the Red Sox. So maybe it's just the pitching matchups fell in the Red Sox favor, but it's just weird lines for me. So I didn't end up moving on the Astros, but we'll see about this one. I'm on the over 9, rooting for runs, hoping for offense. That's what we do best here. We've got
Houston's crushing righties all season long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, let me see it. I actually have it written down here. This month, Pete, first against righties, 148 weighted runs created plus. Ninth are the Red Sox right now, 119 weighted runs created plus. So, like the over here.
Great.
Like the over. Will be.
And you got me down for Houston team total over 4 minus 118, right?
Yep, indeed, Peter Loshak. We've got 4 more games here, and then we're going to talk to our guy, TrotWam here. He's going to tell me those sweet, sweet nothings about the Boston Celtics. I cannot wait, but you guys will be surprised about my take today. It's going to be a fun time. We've got this game, the Atlanta Braves versus the Milwaukee Brewers. Tucker Davidson versus Adrian Hauser here. And Tucker Davidson, basically an unknown so far. Yeah. 1 start or 1 appearance this year, 2 2/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 Ks, 2 walks. In AAA this year, he was 1-1 with a 4 ERA, a 4 FIP, but he did have 34 strikeouts to 9 walks, so that's a good sign there, as I say. In the MLB last year, he had a couple of outings, 0-0 with 3.6, 4.52 FIP, and an 18 strikeout to 8 walk percentage there. For Adrian Hauser, who I liked, I thought he might be a bet-on pitcher this year. I wouldn't say kind of a bad start against the Cincinnati Reds. 4 innings, 6 hits, 7 runs, 3 of them earned, 4 Ks, 4 walks, 3 Ks there. And then the Reds, again, his first time seeing them, he had another 5-run, 4 earned run performance there. So maybe it's just the Reds. Not sure, but Hauser getting touched up by the shitty team there is concerning, even if that team is good. So nothing for me here. I will mention the Braves 20th against righties, 101 weighted runs created plus, and the Milwaukee Brewers against lefties, 89 weighted runs created plus versus lefties this month. So pass game for me. Teams to try to avoid righties against the Brewers right now. So Tucker Davidson gets the hill. What about you, Pete?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about maybe a first 5 over. I don't really want to take a full game over because both teams, have bullpens I don't want to bet against. But I was thinking maybe about at Pinnacle right now, the first 5 over 4 minus 138 is tempting. I know there's lefty righty splits that don't favor offenses here necessarily, but both starting pitchers look a little vulnerable to me right now. And I think that these offenses should be able to take advantage one way or another. And you know what? Let's do it. We're having a good show. Let's try to make this show a little bit better by giving an official play. I'll take the first 5 over 4 minus 138.
Beautiful. So you are on the Atlanta Braves, Milwaukee Brewers. First 5 over 4. What was that juice again, Pete?
Minus 138. A little juicy, but that's all right. We're being a little safe here, but that's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with a little bit safe here and there, just to make yourself feel less stressed out about it.
Well, I was glad I was put safe yesterday, Pete, because I took the Rockies on the reverse run line, and everyone was on their money line yesterday, and they got kicked right in the nuts yesterday. And I am glad that I was not one of those people that kicked right in the nuts. So a little avoidance there. Maybe sometimes being put safe is a good thing, Pete. Maybe it is. 3 more games here. Let's get into them. This one's a stinker, Pete. This is a stinker, but I'm seeing a lot of people on it. Brubaker and the Pirates versus the Chicago Cubs, and Keegan Thompson here making his first start, I believe. Let's see here. I didn't actually write that down. Yeah, it is his first start. Actually, no, it's his second. I'm sorry, second start. 4 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 home run allowed versus the Padres or at the Padres. That was his first start. 1 strikeout, 2 walks there. Has been an opener or has got opened a lot of times this year. I remember seeing Keegan Thompson primary listed as the Cubs frequently this year. He's been pretty good, and I will say pretty good as in really good. He has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his appearances this year, so I can see why a lot of people would like the Chicago Cubs today. Right now against righties, their issue 29th against righties this month, 62 weighted runs created plus, so just horrifying. And the Pittsburgh Pirates 23rd, a little below average at 97. So it's the Cubs bounce back here against JT Brubaker is what people are expecting. And I think it'll be interesting to watch. Obviously, JT, not a great pitcher. And his home road splits, have kind of evened out just to him being bad everywhere. So not a guy I want to bet on. Maybe a Cubs team total look for me here, Pete, but not sure yet. What about you?
My numbers suggested Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh early had value, but I don't trust my numbers in that spot. But that's what they said. I want to take Pittsburgh here, but I haven't pulled the trigger on it. I don't know if I will, and I don't want to give it officially. But my numbers like Pittsburgh early.
And we'll mention 8 miles an hour wind in too. So yeah, not going to make anything official there. That kind of stuff keeps.
Wait, but Ron Crawford play of the day is the Cubs?
No, I believe earlier. Actually, yes, it is. There it is. Look at that. You just Pete, you call it out. Look at you with those big, beautiful eyes of yours calling this out. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today on the Cubs. Beautiful from Ron Crawford. Liking the Cubs today. So shout out to the spreadsheet. He's been hot. I think he's shooting about 60%, a little above 60% right now. So as Jimmy and everyone knows, that's the number to get to when you want to be a successful capper. If you get to 60%, then you're golden there. So exciting game to talk about here. I'm finding just random things as I'm sitting here. How weird. Finding things like falling off my shirt, whatever. Let's keep it moving because I'm in my own little world right now, and the baseball is slowly consuming me. But I'm excited to talk about it, and I think this next game is a play that I'm going to make here. But I've not made anything official. I want to talk it out next. Reed Detmers, Los Angeles Angels. Let's give Reed a good job.
Yeah,
no hitter. Congratulations, Reed Detmers. Youngest player to throw a no hitter since Pete. Any guesses?
Since youngest player throwing no hit, I don't know. I don't follow baseball history like that. But when is it? What's the answer?
2006. Anibal Sanchez throws a no hitter. Youngest pitcher since Anibal to throw said no hitter. I can't. Basically, this is the same theorem that everyone hears about. If an NBA player goes out, shoots a career high percentage, whatever, fade him the next time out. I want to do that here with Reed Detmers. The Rangers offense last couple of games have been hitting. They should thank me because I was in attendance for when they started this against the Red Sox in their last game. So you're welcome, Rangers fans. Taylor Hearn is a competent pitcher. I think he'll turn into a good pitcher for this Ranger squad eventually. 5 innings, 1 hit ball. No earned runs, 5 Ks, 3 walks versus the Kansas City Royals And at versus the Braves, he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 6 Ks, 3 walks there. One interesting note about Taylor Hearn, Pete, he's only had 1 away start this year. Just been home cooking all year. So I want to take Texas team total over 4.5. I wrote it down last night, didn't move on it. It was at plus 110 last night. Flip that plus into a minus now. It's minus 110. I still want to take it. Makes me feel better that it's moved that way. I'll get a shitty line, obviously, but I'd rather be in than out. So what about you, Pete? What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, I understand fading Detmers in this spot, and they were high on him, but he is a pitch to contact guy. So a second straight no hitter, maybe not being the offing here. But Texas also, overall doesn't hit lefties that well. Yeah. Hearn is also off a good start. So it's just gonna, I got screwed yesterday. I was all over the Angels early. They put up 3 in the top of the first. I was like, God, I'm even more of a genius than I tell myself. And then of course Syndergaard gives up 6 in the bottom of the first. So I got massively screwed by that one. And I should have just taken the over in the first 5 over. Don't know why I didn't do that, but I'm gonna pass on this one. I don't want to bet on Texas here. Don't want to bet on, Detmers not having a significant regression either. So I'm gonna pass. It's a pass for me. Whoever bets it, I hope you cash.
Yeah, let me tell you, Pete. I was also on the Angels. I was on the run line, and a lot of people I know were on the Angels. The chat was on the Angels last night. We're all on the Angels, and I'll tell you, I was feeling like the gif of the guy from fucking After the Bell, whatever it's called, the fucking "Don't You Forget About Me," and the guy walks out of the fucking the Breakfast Club.
How the fuck do you know that movie from the 80s, Jose?
There we go, the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club. There we go. I'm that kid with the glasses. It's feeling good. It's feeling great, and then everything kind of just shit the bed. Everything shit the bed. But there you go. That's a good movie reference for you, Pete. I like that. You like that movie?
People told me don't make those references because they won't know who you're talking about and they'll think you're just like ancient. And I'll be like, all right, I won't. But all right, there you go. Nice reference, Jose Bouquett. Yeah, yesterday, God, I had the Angels put up 3 in the top of the first. I was like, how smart can one person be? All in one person, this much intelligence. And then unfucking believable. Had a losing day yesterday because of it. Unreal.
Yeah. I would have gone 3-2 instead of 2-3 yesterday. Shout out to Thor. He'll make it up for us later on in the year, but just a bad start there. Very glad that I did not stay in Dallas for that start. That would have been horrifying. So I'm not going to move on anything officially here, I think, Pete, at the end of the day. But I do like the Texas Rangers team total over 4. Might move on a full game over 8.5 as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's be honest. Taylor Hearn again. I think he'll be a good pitcher, but this Angels offense has been phenomenal. And like you said, the Rangers aren't the best against. Well, let's specifically say this month, the Angels 95 weighted runs created plus. That's 17th in the league, and the Rangers against lefties are 29th.
Yeah,
71 weighted runs created plus. So that's I think that's really the thing that's keeping me off of it. Right. If it was most any other team, I would want to fade it. And when the Rangers break out and smack Reed Detmers around tonight, I'm going to be pissed that I didn't bet it. But we're going to keep it tight. We're going to keep it disciplined. And we're going to keep it moving, Pete. Is that all right with you?
All right. Yeah, that sounds good. I might be out again. I make a lot of bets close to first pitch, so who knows? I was told not even to make the movie Kids references because people will think you're fucking ancient. But all right, yeah. So all right, let's.
If it makes you feel better, Pete, I do not know what the movie Kids is. I still have not watched it.
You don't even have to. Don't even worry about it.
I still haven't watched it. I've heard it's experience from Jim. I've heard it's an experience, but we'll just keep referencing moving back and forth that we don't understand. It's fine. Let's talk about this game that I actually don't have graphics for. Giants versus the Rockies. We've got 2 more games, and we'll talk to TrotWam here soon. Shout out to TrotWam for being patient and waiting for us. Yeah. Alex Cobb versus Chad Kuhl. We've got a total at 11 again here, Pete. And we saw these pitchers pitch. I think it was exactly this matchup at San Francisco. Cobb got the better of Kuhl that day, and I think we took the first 5 over that day. I'm not 100% sure. You can see how shitty my memory is. Maybe I should lay off the fucking cannabinoids, but who knows, man? Who knows? Alex Cobb has been, I would say, good this year, really good. And, he had a little groin injury, comes back from it, does his thing now. This is Alex Cobb's second away start, so that's a concern. And Cool has been pitching on the road a lot as well. With that number, I'm on a group chat that said this number being that high again, they're expecting both these pitchers to get touched. And I think I'm agreeing. So as crazy as it is in the year of our Lord 2022, with the baseballs the way that they are, I'd lean over 11 here. So.
Yeah, last night I did have San Francisco team total over, which cashed. So I'm happy about that. This one, I'm probably going to hold off. And I want to pull the trigger on Colorado here at this big of a dog line, but I haven't done it yet. And I don't know if I really will. And then tomorrow, I haven't even checked the pitchers, but if this game is low scoring, Colorado wins, I'll probably be on San Francisco tomorrow in some way. Leaning Colorado, haven't pulled the trigger on it, might not. Cool's been actually pretty good at home this year, including once against Philly. So clearly he knows how to pitch to good lineups at Coors, and I'd be leaning Colorado here. Just don't have the balls to give that publicly right now.
Eric Jones with a phenomenal stat. I love these stats. Eric Jones, these stats just right here. Mm-hmm. Give it to me right here, Eric Jones. San Francisco as a minus, or I would say, minus 160, minus 180 road favorite this year. 9-1 straight up. Give them San Francisco in this spot. Jay Peasy, by the way, saying over 4.5 is more free money there. Team total last 6 games for the Rockies, 6, 10, 6, 7, 10, 10, 9, and 5. There, so
yeah, Cobb is tough because he does get a lot of grounders and strikeouts. Yeah, I'm gonna hold off. I'm gonna hold off on this one.
Beautiful. So let's move on to the last game, and let's let this lovely image bring us into it. It is Bundy Day. Dylan Bundy back on the scene here, and he has taken a precipitous drop. Ever since these graphics were created for Dylan Bundy, it has just gone horribly for him. Let's talk about his last 2 starts, and I'll even be gracious and mention a third in there that he was actually good in. So last start at Baltimore, 3 2/3, 11 hits, 9 earned runs off, 2 home runs, 3 Ks, 2 walks there. At the Tampa Bay Rays, 6 innings, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks there. So just 2 shitty starts back to back. And like we said, I'm nice. I'll mention a good start for Dylan Bundy because he was good once upon a time this year. Suddenly doesn't seem to have it right now. Versus the White Sox at home, 5 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 4 Ks, no walks for him. Now, initially, when you look at the pitching matchup, I was expecting truthfully, like minus 120, maybe even minus 110 split both these ways. But the Twins, minus 140 here, I thought was a little crazy, especially against the Oakland A's at the A's. I thought that was weird, just weird number there. You do a little research into it, and I just want to double check. Yes, they're still minus 140, still plus 117 right now. The A's and James Caprillion, who I think is a good pitcher this year. He was in the running for Rookie of the Year last year at several points. At Detroit, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 K, 3 walks. At Minnesota, 5 2/3, 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 7 Ks, 2 walks. The issue is the Angels or the A's, are horrible against righties this month. Horrible. 37 weighted runs created plus. That is just so far down, so far and away below the worst. That's very intimidating right there. And the 2 bets that I was looking at, honestly, was Oakland team total over 3 at minus 115 and first 5 over 1.5 at minus 110. Can you get these guys to scratch you just 4 runs? And I don't know. I just do not know, Pete. Those were my plays that I was leaning towards. I don't know if I'm going to make them official yet, but I will just mention this month they only have 3 home runs against righties this month.
Right.
160 average and 410 plate appearances. So tough for me. So I'm going to stay off of it, I think, for right now, unless you say something that can put me on it, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably be on this game one way or another. I haven't bet it yet. Bundy, I'm not so down on him, especially in this spot. This feels like a spot that's tailor-made for him, and he does have the stuff to take advantage of that. He has an elite walk rate. Doesn't quite get the strikeouts that you'd like, but his slider needs to be better. He used to have a great slider. I'm not so down on Bundy in this spot at all. I'm not sure how high I am on him, but probably by first pitch, I will have a bet on this game. Whether it's ultimately a positive EV bet, whether it wins or not, is a completely different story. But I would be definitely thinking about, Oakland team total under, maybe even Oakland first 5 team total under, maybe a full game under, maybe a first 5 under. I think Bundy will have an okay start here, possibly an excellent one. He's going to be on a pitch count though, so he's only going to go 80 pitches or so, which is
I'd say that's what the line says, Pete. I mean, like I said, I thought this would be a closer line, and a -140 just tells me that the books and Vegas knows that he's going to have a nice start today.
And Minnesota's bullpen is fine for me in this spot. They're not a bullpen that I would object to. And in fact, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe at 3.5 at -145, we can shop around and maybe get a little bit of a better line. It's kind of an obvious play, taking a team total under 3.5 with Oakland when they haven't, been able to put up 2 in 5 games in a row, whatever the hell their utility mark is right now. But I think Bundy will be all right. I think the bullpen will be all right. Oakland, I don't see them bouncing back necessarily in this spot. And we'll make Oakland team total under an official play. I'm just going to shop around. You can read some comments and give your opinions while I shop around for a couple seconds, and then we'll.
I'll tell you right now, Peter. Benny 101 likes Minnesota under.
Yeah,
we're under 7 here. Both teams under. Billy Friedrich saying full games totals in Oakland 7 and 12 to the under this year. Abel A reminding everyone 189 people watching right now total. So we appreciate all you guys watching. Hit the like button. It helps us out very much. Get us in that algorithm. And by the way, Pete, something I've been telling people, a nice, easy way for us to see their bets. Scroll down a little bit under the description. Hit a comment button there, the actual comment on the video, and drop your plays there. A much easier way for us to see your plays and be able to be notified exactly like, oh, so-and-so commented, here's his play. It's just more immediate, direct, and it helps us in the algorithm as well. By the way, Tim Montana saying Correa back for the Twins, run line here for them. So a lot of interesting factors. A +125 for the run line. It's pretty good. I like that as well, but a low-scoring game, run line will be interesting.
Yeah.
Kyle Henley likes the under as well.
I shopped around, got -145, so you can put that on there. Under 3.5 -145, Oakland team total.
Under -145 for you, Peter. What a beautiful baseball card we just did, Peter. That was lovely. That was I felt like we just did a dance, Peter. We just waltzed through the baseball card. We just went side to side, and we just did it gracefully. How did you think that went, Peter?
I think it went okay. I'm just looking at my Cincinnati-Cleveland overs. I mean, are those really stupid? No, I think they're okay. Seattle, I don't know. I don't really want to fade Barrios, but I think it's okay. Houston team total over at 4 -118. I mean, I'm not high on Eovaldi, and then they have that bullpen. I think it's okay. Atlanta, Milwaukee, I understand that you're taking a team total over, but after yesterday's game and the 2 starting pitchers involved, I think it's okay. I think overall it's okay, Jose.
Well, let's recap our plays here, and then let's answer this question from Michael Ervelina. I like this question a lot, and then we will talk to our guy TrotWam. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be a fun day. So I'll go through my plays. Only 3 of them, Pete. Only 3 plays for me. I'm used to doing 10, but now since the units have dropped, we're tightening up, being more disciplined, and all that good stuff. My one overnight play, I had the Houston Red Sox over 9 -105. You can get that over 8.5 now. So we shall see there. And 2 additions on the show. Cincinnati, Cleveland, first 5 over 4. minus 125, and the Seattle Mariners first 5 money line plus 110. Riding the Gilbert train one more time. Is it going to go off the tracks officially? Let's find out. For you, Loshak, let's scroll down here because we have a bunch of plays for you. We've got the Cincinnati Cleveland first 5 over minus 123. Cincinnati Cleveland
122.
122.
Okay.
Minus 122. We've got that down. Cleveland, Cincinnati over 8 minus 110. Cincinnati first 5 plus a half at minus 118.
Seattle first half plus a half minus 1. Come on, Jose Bouquett. I mean, we're still slightly above average for a sports betting show, but we want to have a few notches above average.
We're going here. We're going. The Mariners first 5. Here we go. Team total, and then the Houston, by the way, over 4 minus 118. Atlanta, Milwaukee first 5 minus 138. And you have that over 4, and the Oakland team total under 3.5 minus 145. Is that all right there for you, Pete?
Yeah, that was great.
Thank you. You just firing me up. You fired me up like Billy wants me to. We need the energy high here, Pete. Yeah. High energy. Is that what you want?
And let me review Jose's picks for a second. Jose's got Philly minus 128. Detroit.
Sorry. People need to know. The people need to know, Pete. They want to know what we're on.
KC team total over. And then those are Jose's picks for today, man. How you feeling about it, Jose?
I'm feeling great.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just busting your balls here, Jose.
I love it, Pete. I love my balls busted as much as anyone else does, Pete. And let me tell you, I want to mention this comment because it's a great one. Billy Friedrich asking us. Oh, actually, hold on. That's not Billy. Hold on. Wait a second, Billy. I do appreciate it. It's Michael Ervelina. Here we go.
But no, I mean, because the thing is, like when I was a kid, hip hop was a certain way, and then the kids. The mumble rap became what the popular thing is. So maybe your delivery is like what the kids and what everyone loves today. Well, maybe that is what quality video content is today. And I'm just old school and an ancient guy. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I don't, as you know, Pete, I don't listen to music. I'm not into the mumble rap. That's just my exhaustion peeking through after hosting all these shows. But
you're a mumble capper. You're a mumble capper.
I'm a mumble capper. Yes. Finally. We finally figured out Jose Bouquett. The mumble capper.
And maybe the old fogies, that's like this isn't analysis. This is just some dude mumbling some shit, but the kids love it. They fucking love it.
The mumble capper. The mumble capper. I've got a lot of nicknames and I'm excited about it. Pete, long story short, do you have any World Series long shots here? Trying to get to Michael Arvelina's questions. I'm getting my balls busted all left and right.
I mean, the reality is that those kinds of futures odds are deal with a wholly different analysis than day in and day out value betting. Futures odds has to do with the World Series futures odds has to do with bullpens, obviously injuries and stuff like that. I really don't think about it at all during the regular season, like in season futures odds.
Since you don't think about it, Pete, I will. I don't have the futures odds pulled up, and on Bovada, they don't have them pulled up, and I don't want to go to FanDuel and potentially give you guys stale lines. Michael Overland says he likes the Cardinals. You don't hate that. And I will mention the Boston Red Sox were supposed to be a lot better than this. If they fix their bullpen and the hitting comes together, they will be a force, and I think they will have. And I'm looking at it now. They're plus 6,000. I'm looking on FanDuel. I'm doing it. I'm biting the bullet. I'm going to FanDuel. 6,000 is not bad. The Cardinals are 3,000. Everything from below there, Minnesota Twins at plus 3,200. Maybe the Tampa Bay Rays at plus 2,000, but. Yeah, if the longest long shot that even seems remotely interesting is the Red Sox at plus 6,000, but they're in such a fucking tough division, and I've already wrote them off. So take that with what you will there. But let's move on, Peter, because that was a great question. Wanted to give some time to it.
Sure.
Okay, let me tell you, my baseball might be shit, Pete, but at the fucking very least. The Boston Celtics have resurrected themselves from the ashes and have made themselves into what I think should be the championship favorite here, Pete? We've got 4 teams left, a lot of storylines, a lot of drama to break down, and a lot of action to talk about. But first, let's give our hands together. Get your like buttons ready. Let's smash the likes when he gets in here so you can see how much everyone likes him. Give your hands together. Walter Trotter, TrotWam in the building.
Yes, sir.
Buddy.
Yes, sir.
Doing,
yes, sir. I'm feeling good, Jose.
Hell yeah, Walter Trotter.
Yeah, of course. I'm feeling good with Pete. It's Tuesday, man. It's a blessed time. So, yeah, let's get to it, man. Like you said, it's some games. And I agree with you. They should be the favorites. The Celtics.
They should be.
They should be the favorites.
I'll tell you guys now, we'll start off my Homer discussion with this. If the Celtics and the Warriors play, the Celtics will get them up out of there in 5 games or less. They will smash the Warriors. I'll tell you that. I'm a lot more worried about the Mavericks than I am the Warriors, for sure. But first, let's talk about game 1 tonight. Game 1, and there's a lot of history going against the Celtics. Teams that go in a game 7, a long, hard-fought series, and then come back in a game 1 against a team that's been rested, waiting for them, goes for the rested team. And a lot of people are on the Heat today. And you know what, guys? Transparency. I would be too. I think the Heat win today. And I hope they do. Because then we slide in on the Celtics to win the series and the Celtics to win the championship. And Jason Tatum takes his ranks amongst the best players in basketball. I will stop talking now because I want Pete to talk about this game because he's the unbiased one here. And I just told you guys what I want to happen in this game. So, Peter, tell us what actually might happen and tell your analysis of this game, please.
So everyone's on the Heat,
it seems like it.
And the line hasn't really moved at all since it opened, has it? I don't know. Who should be the favorite in this series? I'm not sure. But if you think that Miami's not going to get swept and they're going to win a game in this series, how can this not be the game that they're most likely to win, right? Again, just like we were talking with Cindy's bet horses before, the Celtics are banged up. Now, they have the same, healing drugs that people in hockey and football have. So, again, if Marcus Smart is banged up, but they give him the drugs that make him good for that, 2-hour period of his life, then you have to assume he's 100%. But it seems like Boston's kind of banged up, right? Miami is gonna be able to push him around at least for this game. The line is just -2. Everyone's on Miami, and the line hasn't moved. I don't know. Is this not an obvious Miami spot, Walter Trotter?
Man, I appreciate the alley-oop there. So, like Rob Williams being available in this series, I think he's going to be a big, impactful player in this matchup rather than he was in the last matchup against the Bucks because Robert Lopez shown that he's really good as far as defending down low, and then you still had Giannis all-time greatness to go up against. Them getting over that hump, I think that gives them a prime example that they're going to go on a deep run towards the finals. If this doesn't win, if they don't win this game, this is going to be a long series regardless. You know what I mean? It's about Miami being able to take advantage and winning at home. So I believe that they will win this first game. So I am with that train because, as far as the reason why the line, I think, won't move, because this is kind of scaring people off of Miami. You know what I mean? Why move the line? This is getting us enough even action. Why change this? You know what I mean? So I think that's the reason why you're getting this type of look. And then let's be honest. I think everyone knows that the Celtics are going to win this series, even though they're big favorites to win this series. In my opinion, I thought this would be a little bit more of a medium line, but I think it's -180. I've seen for a series price -185 or something crazy like that. So, they don't even have home court advantage. So right. I think they are going to lose one game in Miami, the Miami Heat, out of these first 2 games. I don't think it's going to be the first one. It just doesn't make sense, like you guys said. And as far as this Heat team as well, we give them a little credit here. They do have guys that are going to show up. I know they're undrafted players. There are a lot of undrafted players, and it's only so long and so far you could go with undrafted players when you're going against all-time greatness like Tatum, like Jaylen Brown, and eventually Marcus Smart. He's not going to be in the lineup today, I don't think. I think the foot swollen is a real deal. If it's continued to be swollen, they, like you said, there are medicine. They could just put some powder on it and figure
Yeah.
this out.
Hell
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Ivermectin, all that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get it in there.
Whatever you
Right,
got.
right.
I think I hope he doesn't play personally. I hope he doesn't play so the Heat, win this game. Like I said, everyone's confident. And then again, the Celtics come back and beat them in game 2. But we will say there is one voice in the wind, and we call it around here the stick in the wind. Terry Coker. Terry Coker thinking the Heat are going to win this series and think we are fucking crazy for saying that the Celtics are going to win this. Like the Sun said, he's on the Heat to win this series. And I think he's the only person so far I've seen to say Heat win this series. Everyone on the Heat tonight. But I think it's interesting. I mean, I will say to Terry Coker's point here. So let's say Heat win this game. Celtics going to win the next 4 out of 5 games or whatever we're going to do.
I think so. I mean, the reason why I like the Heat today, though, is because when they get the 4 days off, they're 4-0 ATS. When they have rest advantage, they're 16-19. 16-9 against the spread, and 31-11 straight up as a home favorite. This is just a win game, man. I think even if it gets to a close game, they end up winning by at least 3. So I like the 1.5. I locked that in. I took the money line here as well at -124 last night. Tweet that out. Got that out early. It did move a little bit. You got the 2s right now. You got the -135s, some other spots here. So you can see the money line there moving. I would say I don't think that the Heat are the better team, even though they played the better defense. But I agree with you, though, Jose. I think you got the right idea, the same idea at least I had, as far as thinking that the adjustments will be made. Eventually, these guys are going to get exposed. They're going to make their shots off the first game. I believe Struth's going to have a good game. I believe even Tyler Hero may even have a good game. But eventually, they're going to be able to wear them down. Coming off that 7-game series against a physical team, you may even see like some calls. They always complain about the calls. Maybe they fall themselves into that bullshit that they normally do to fall on these game ones like they did in last series. So I like the Celtics to win. I'm going to take the approach like you did, like you're saying, take the series after this, but I want to take the -1.5, and I want to get it at plus money. So I think we get plus money if they lose this first game. And then also I'm taking Jason Tatum to win the first ever Larry Bird Trophy, Eastern Conference Finals.
That's
I
only
think
right.
he's the best player. It's only right. It's only right. It's only right. He gotta be. They can't get us to Jimmy. Who said they like the they said they like the Heat. They can't get his trophy to Jimmy, man. They gotta get us to Tatum. This is how the NBA moves forward, bro. And they're gonna. I'll be the Lakers. It's gonna be the terrible season for the Lakers. I understand. I'm a Laker fan. It's only right that they go up on us as far as how many championships that they have, and it happens this year on a weak year that we had. So I like the Celtics to even win it all the way, like you did mention there. But I think we get a little bit better before game 2 starts. So I like the Celtics for the series, but tonight it got to be the Heat, man. They got to win. I think even home playoff teams, home favorites with a rest advantage, that's 75%, something like Ski was saying. I'm sure we're going to talk about that on the NBA Pub Hub tonight. So man, lock in, man.
Wow. So the Celtics are that much better than the Heat.
I don't think that much better. They just got the better players. It's only, like I said, it's only so much you could do with undrafted players. You know what I'm saying? They could get a game or 2. This is a perfect game for them to get. But, even then, like, if they don't shoot this game, they might get swept. They might get swept if they don't win this game. I believe. I don't think they're going to be able to win 2 games. They may win game 2 if they lose this game, but I don't think they may win any more games after that, especially coming back to the house after losing 2 straight in Boston. It's not gonna be good.
I think it'll be Celtics in 6 or 7. This is, I think everyone said this. Whoever won the Celtics Heat series or the Celtics Bucks series is going to make the finals. I understand this Heat looked very good, but the 76ers were horrible. And I think the Celtics, I think Jason Tatum's the top 5 player in the NBA. If you did a draft, I was thinking in my head right now, if you had a draft of all these players, I would say Jason Tatum's the best. Jimmy Butler's 2. And 3, I think I take Brown over Bam, to be honest. I think I'd rather have Bam or Brown, I should say. 4, Bam, 5, Smart. And then he starts becoming Celtics players from there. I think both these teams are obviously pretty similar. Great coaches. And they've played each other once in the bubble championship, bubble Eastern Conference Finals. We remember that. I choose to block that memory out of my mind and never remember that. But I think it'll be a great series. Pete, what did you end up locking in on? You've been sitting here quietly. Listening.
Yeah, I'm actually up a decent amount in our show officially in the NBA, so I have a few units to work with and burn. I'm going to give a few plays that I think might be no-brainers. You can make them official, and if they lose, whatever. First of all, and I did bet this one. First of all, let's just start first quarter under. It's 49.5, but I'm seeing a pinnacle. I could buy to 50 minus 121. So let's start with that. Okay. First quarter under 50 minus 121. You got that, Jose?
Yep. Minus 121. Gotcha.
Then let's take Boston Celtics first quarter team total under, which I'm seeing at 24.5 minus 110. That's the current line at Heritage. Boston Celtics first quarter team total under 24.5 minus 110. These are kind of complicated picks, Jose Bouquett. You got them all down there? You got everything?
24.5. What was the juice again, Pete?
Minus 110. Current line at Heritage. That's a first quarter team total under.
Beautiful.
And then, I bet Miami minus 2. I guess I'm a little bit spooked now because you guys are all saying like how much way better Boston is.
I would say, and by the way, just a quick gas station report: Smart over Hero, not in 2022, absolutely in 2022. Smart over Hero. And by the way, Pete, you said first quarter under 24.5 minus 110. Just to double check with you.
Team total Boston, yes.
Beautiful. All right, gotcha. Just wanted to double check. But yeah, Wham. What about you? Anything official here?
Yeah, officially, I'm on the Heat minus 1.5, and I'm on the money line at minus 124. But as far as the official play, it's going to be just the Heat at the money line. Just think they win today. This is the best chance for them to win. I think they may lose the next game. You may see even glimpse of the Celtics being able to dominate in this game, in this series here. But I think they win today. Get their role players to knock down shots. So I like that look today.
And you know what? Add on for me, Miami minus 2 minus 108. Current line at Heritage. I'll take that one. Miami just to win the game minus 2 minus 108.
Okay, Miami Heat minus 2. You said minus 110?
Minus 108.
Minus 108, excuse me. Minus 108. And Wham, yours is money line plus 124, correct?
No, mine is money line minus 130. Well, minus 130 right now. You can get that right now available with the Heat. But I did tweet it out last night at minus 124. Minus 124.
Beautiful. I don't know why.
It's all good.
There.
It's all good. If y'all can't get that.
Hey, it's all right. The Heat are going to win tonight. I can't wait. It's going to be fun. I wanted to quickly touch on the other series. Let's just memorialize. Let's all have a moment of silence for Chris Paul's career real quick.
Jesus.
Thank you. Chris Paul's career officially murdered. Unfortunately, Luka Doncic took an axe and just dominated him. Devin Booker.
Can he do the same thing to Steph?
You know what, guys? I'm going to hand up. I think the Mavs win this series. I don't think the Warriors are that good this year. I think they've gotten away with, some, game charades, whatever. Obviously, I would say Steph Curry is the best player in the playoffs left. Correct? I think he's probably the best, and then Luka or Tatum is probably 2 or 3 there, and Luka, I think, honestly, could have a case for the best player in the playoffs. I think he's that good. And if you made it, and we'll just do another draft here, another draft theorem. If you drafted all the Warriors and Mavericks players, it's Curry, Luka, 1 or 2. I'm taking Jalen Brunson 3 over Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, who's been half a man. Then I'll take Klay. And am I taking Dinwiddie over Klay? I don't know. Clay's been that bad. Clay's been that bad. So I like the Mavericks, and honestly, I think we're getting a Mavericks Celtics finals, and I will have to take out a loan to potentially go to one of these games. It's the final thing. Anyone any thoughts here early on that series?
I will just add the Clay Steph pool has yet to go all off at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it's usually just be two of the three, maybe just one of the three through games. So I expect, Jason Kidd to still thrive and flourish. He's not getting enough credit, man. It's gonna be all looked on Kaluka. But
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
is.
Spencer Dinwiddie last game, like you said, man, 5 for 7 the last 2 games to close out those Suns. And I mean, the way they closed out the Suns, it was just one of the weirdest games I ever seen in my life, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie. As far as Ayton, the way that fell apart just over like just out of nowhere, really. They was faking the funk the whole fucking playoffs, if that's how they really felt. You know what I mean? Like that was crazy. I would say this as well though. I haven't made a play on this game, anything, because I'm scared of Luka. I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared of Luka.
Yeah,
He shouldn't be
should
here.
be.
He shouldn't be here. He shouldn't be here though. Honestly, it's
He's
just
a
the guys
freak.
that he has around him, and the way they made to get rid of KP mid-season, to make a change, to have great defense towards the end of the season, and everything like they were doing. It's just crazy. And I really want to talk about Reggie Bullock too, because he's off, this team is going to lose. That's how it really works, as I've been noticing as of late. So I seen how good he was with the Knicks last year that got them to the playoffs. Maybe he's that type of glue guy that they needed to push him over the edge, though. So it's really interesting, man. I think Luka is probably the best player on this court, though, bro. As
Yeah.
far as like available to the game, maybe like you said, legacy wise, I'll take Curry. But
Yeah,
Luka,
I mean, I
if we
think
drafting right
you're
now,
right.
I'm taking Luka for sure.
Honestly, you're probably right. I was trying to give Steph some credit. He hasn't been playing that well, but yeah, man, Luka's been that good. Pete, you have any early thoughts on this series?
No, but Cheshire Cat thinks you're a genius. He says the things Jose says make me want to bash my head into the wall. He thinks they're so smart.
Well,
Wow.
thank you, Cheshire. I mean, hey, as long as we're getting people to listen. And by the way, if Curry does get to the finals, I kind of hope that he does win a ring again, because Skip Bayless is going to have a career resurgence if Stephen Curry wins another championship. It's going to be Curry versus LeBron. And guess what, guys? I'm going to be on Team Curry. Curry greater than LeBron if he wins this championship right now. And Skip Bayless is going to have a career resurgence. It's going to be like PEDs. It's going to be like Barry Bonds. And it's going to be great. I can't wait. This is going to be a fun matchup, a fun series, and a fun postseason in general. Now, last thoughts here. Last thoughts. I just want to, feelers. Wham, you mentioned this earlier. As of right now, your champion, the Celtics.
So yeah, I like the Celtics. I actually did bet the Jason Tatum to win the Larry Bird Trophy at plus 100. I just think I could really make both bets and still take Tatum again in the next round if it's better odds as well. So I want to lock it in early at plus 100 just in case if he balls the fuck out game one. And that's what I did. So I am going to – we could make that official as well. I'll take Jason Tatum to be the first one to win the Larry Bird trophy, the Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy. Jason Tatum at plus 100. Still available right now.
That just warms my heart to think about. Wham.
You got to get both Larrys this year, though. Both Larrys.
That really warms my heart there. Pete, who do you think? Do you have any? Just you don't have to make any official bets or anything.
I don't know basketball well enough.
Well, that doesn't stop people from talking. Look at me. Come on.
No, I mean, how would you, for example, how would you rate? I know a question to ask, like Golden State defensively versus Phoenix defensively in terms of stopping Luka. Does Golden State have something that Phoenix didn't have?
Yeah, it seemed like they have at least. I mean, they may have a locker room issues too, but at the same time, they seem like they have really bad. Maybe not even locker room issues, just front office issues or just role playing issues, like Aiden was. I don't know how to really like to wrap my mind about what happened with the Suns, man. It looked like it was destined for them to play the Golden State in the Eastern Conference, in the Western Conference Finals. So that's why I said Luka wasn't supposed to be here. The fact that he's here, I think that's something we really have to wrap our brains around, and like maybe this is his time. Like you said, to start this, Jose, he already smashed CP3 down. You out of here, say CP3.
Yeah,
you out of here.
Hey,
I could
one of
really
the best
blow
teams
this
in the West ever.
You could really blow the Suns team up. They're already in the luxury tax.
I think they will.
They have to sign Jordan Poole. They have to do something with some of these younger guys like Kuminga. I do want to say this, and I didn't mention as well. I did throw it in the chat, but the fourth most turnovers is Golden State in the postseason so far. Dallas makes the second fewest mistakes on turnovers wise. They don't make that many mistakes. They'll be bad on the turnovers. It'll be bad for them if they turn over the ball there. I can see these guys being able to run them out the gym. And then also Dallas, after a loss, 26-9 ATS, bro. You seen it at the game at the house with Dallas. They lost at home. They lost on the road. They came home and were able to win and go out and carry that over to smack the Suns. I think that mentality alone with Jason Kidd is not getting talked about enough. So that's why I'm scared. I'm scared of Luka, man. But I think rightfully so. I should think the Curry in them because they've shown us already. You know what I mean? Like I said, Luka doesn't. He's not. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but he's not supposed to be here, bro.
He's not supposed to be here. TrotWam, thank you very much for joining us. This is a lovely NBA day. Pete, I think you feel great about your NBA card. I think I can see that twinkle in your eye.
Yeah, I mean, as we sit here, I mean, in general, my NBA official plays and my sensibilities have, in the end, turned out to be relatively accurate, even though I know the fundamentals of like NBA handicapping. I feel less than any other sport. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not quite seeing why you guys are so down on Miami, but you all obviously are, and you know what you're talking about. I just see.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I just see a tough defensive team with the home court advantage, obviously, I like, in all sports, I like favorites where they're favorites because of their offensive, prowess, and they're just going to steamroll over anyone offensively who gets in their way. But when you have two tough, tight defensive teams, and you have one team that's a substantial underdog, with the home court advantage, you guys love Boston, though. I'm just not quite seeing it. Makes me think what the hell I'm seeing. I'm seeing it serious.
I'm sorry, Pete. I would say it could be recency bias too, because we've seen the Hawks fold, we've seen the 76ers fold too. So really don't respect their opponents, maybe.
I would agree with that. I do not respect the Heat's opponents. And I think definitely it's like the 1A, 1B Celtics Bucks. If the Bucks were in this position right now, I think we would all feel the same way about the Bucks. So it'll be interesting there. TrotWam, where can the people find you next on the Pub Sports Radio airwaves? You got the NBA Pub Hub, correct?
Yes, sir. I'll be on the Pub Hub, man, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Beautiful. TrotWam, thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you soon on the NBA Pub Hub. Thank you so much, as always. Pete, we did it.
Yeah,
we completed our first show together. How do you feel that we just completed our first maiden voyage together?
Oh, I thought it was, you find me an average 50% level sports handicapping show. Put that one next to this one and tell me this one isn't at least slightly better than that one. I think we did.
Tell us that. If you do tell us that, you're a liar. You're a liar, and we will not believe you. It's been a hell of a show. Pete, I will admit, I don't think these shows will happen very often with me and I together. So we have to cherish them, love them like they're their own child, and we have to remember them. We have to remember them.
But it also put, player mentalities. You know what I mean? It's like putting yourself psychologically in the mentalities of players helps with your handicapping. And now, we've experienced what it's like when like the bench guys get a chance to start because of an injury or because of someone getting a break or being on vacation or whatever. And, I feel like we rose to the occasion, but you can feel like the urgency and the desire, the drive to not embarrass yourself. And
that is high. Yeah, I'll admit that. The urgency and desire to not embarrass myself is high, but
Yeah.
that is also offset with my basketball knowledge, and everyone loves my basketball knowledge in the chat. The gas station report, AOD, Terry Coker. I can't wait to watch this series. It's gonna be a fun series, guys. It's gonna be a fun series for sure. And if the Celtics win this series, I hope that you guys continue watching the show. I want to see your lovely names on the program again. And guess what, Pete?
Mm-hmm.
Our long national nightmare is over.
And
Starting
you have a new
tomorrow.
nickname. Mark Schillenberg has given you a nickname. Now you're officially
another one?
Jose. I don't know what I'm talking about. Bouquet. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's another one. I've got one hole. I've got the mumble capper.
Yeah.
I've got a lot. I'm growing. I love all my nicknames. That's how I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to be when next show. I'm going to be like, welcome in to Say Hey Plays. My name is Jose Bouquet, aka One Hole, aka the Mumble Capper, aka I don't know what I'm talking about, Bouquet. And that's what we'll start doing. It's going to be fun, Pete. Thank you so much for deciding to do the show with me. I appreciate that. And like I was going to say earlier, we've got a long national nightmare is over. Jimmy the Bag is back tomorrow for his show. Back again. Everything back to normal. We'll have plenty of stories about Florida. I haven't talked to Jimmy, actually, so I'm excited to hear about all of his stories. Ella and Carter meeting Mickey Mouse. Jimmy day drinking his dirty water. Gambling on hockey, and we will find out how everything went. Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. As always, we've got Billy Friedrich. Thank you for the kind words, Billy Friedrich. Bo Jackson in the chat. I'm sure it's the real Bo Jackson. You don't know Bo, but we know Bo here. Juan Ruiz, Cheshire Cat. Me and Cheshire Cat have been spending a lot of time together. We are arm in arm. You know, this is what we do. Shout out to Cheshire Cat.
Jose, whatever sticks, Bouquet.
Jose, whatever sticks, Bouquet. That's also my name. I agree with that. Tori Coper, Wallaby King, all you guys, Max Swelly, Sam Colmer, Mark Schillingberg. I love all you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for sticking around with the 2.5 hours. Raven in the Desert and Big Ragu, all you guys. Yeah, apparently Boston Jose, another good one there. So it'll be fun. I'll write down all these nicknames, and we'll just start introducing myself like that. It'll be fun. Pete, we'll see you next week. I'm not going to recap. I'm not going to recap all the plays again because I am the mumble capper. So you guys enjoy that. I will tweet out all the plays though. Don't worry. I will tweet out Peter's plays. And
it is a nice twist on lying about your record. Like some people just give out picks and they lie about your record, but you have plausible deniability because you can be like, "Oh, my pick is Houston minus the Red Sox," and then people be like, "Dude, you were on Houston."
What did you say?
I wasn't. No, I was on Boston Blue 144. So that was a winner. You know what was the winner?
Yeah.
Boston Eastern 44.
Yeah, there you go.
Better than lying for sure. It's better.
There we go. The Mumble Capper is here to stay. I cannot wait. It's going to be fun. Remember, no Say Hey Plays later today. This was Say Hey Plays today. So we'll be back with Say Hey Plays tomorrow. Jimmy the Bag will be back. Everything rolling at 100%. Pete, thanks so much for joining me. Let's just clap it up. How about we just have a clap it up, Pete? Clap it up. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching.
I'm feeling it.
Yes. Positive day, winning vibes. Let's have it. And let's come back again tomorrow. Jimmy the Bag, 11 a.m. Eastern, betting with the bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Don't forget to say hey on social media, and we'll see you guys then.